Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. For some reason, I'm real big in the mic or in the camera. Real big in the mic. I'm real big in the mic, everybody, tonight. Hope everybody's doing well. Am I coming in okay? Am I 5x5? Let me know, everybody. Let me know. See here, I'm just going to do a little bit of cam fixing here. Apologies, got to do it live on stream because apparently my camera's decided to do something a little different tonight. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It is Saturday, November 29th. We are doing our IAE recap show this evening. As many of you know, I have been on vacation with my wife and my daughter. It was kind of two vacations in one, but been doing that for the last 7 days. Obviously, it's going to occur right in the middle of IAE, but that's going to sometimes happen. But it was good. I feel refreshed. I feel good. I feel a little all over the place tonight, so hopefully you all will bear with me. Hopefully you'll bear with me. Michael Phillips says, "How's my holidays?" It was great. It was awesome. It was good to get away. It was me and my wife's 10-year anniversary, so it was a lot of fun. Went to a cabin in the woods, so I could not have been further out in the boonies. For those of you that caught my Drake Day stream, though, with the Clipper and Ox run-throughs, I was doing that from the cabin. I was actually surprised at how good the connection was and how good I was able to stream, so that was really great. We're going to do, like we always do, we're going to do some top of show announcements here. I got some stuff that's going to interest all of you. And then we're going to start catching up. Tonight is going to be a little bit of a catch up night for me. And you know, you all will probably be able to help me a little bit on stuff that has come out since I've been away that will be, you know, you'll be able to educate me a little bit on things. So, but I'm just getting a few windows already here. I do have Arturius in voice chat. He may chime in from time to time. Art, how are you?
Present.
He's
Barely.
present. He is present. I think if I'm just checking, if I switch over to host, okay, yeah, I do have Art's thing up. But yeah, we're going to do a little bit of catch up tonight. It's going to be fun. I might go in game to check out the ships. For those of you audiophiles, Jen and Tonic says we'll do it live. That's exactly right, Jen and Tonic. For those of you wondering why I got a headset mic on and my stream mic, I've had a few people ask why I do that sometimes. The reason I do that is because I really like side tone in my headset, and I cannot figure out how to get side tone from this microphone through the Logitech headsets. I've tried everything, doesn't work. I really like side tone, so I'm using this when I talk to Art. It's nice to be able to have this, and when I'm not talking to Art or I don't have anyone in here, you usually won't see the headset at all. It's just the stream mic. So that's why you see two mics. I'm not insane. I do know how audio works. I went to school for audio engineering, actually. So I do know how audio works. Just making do with what I can. Rabbit says I got cold ears. Sounds like he
So,
has figured it out.
super serious question.
Yes.
On vacation. So, cabin was good. Yes. You're
Yes.
looking to go back. So, if we're
Yes.
looking to go back, hot tub stream when?
That's a good question. That's a real good question. Hot tub stream when? I don't know. The funny thing is I do have a hot tub. So a hot tub stream is very possible. It's very possible. Yeah. Real quick, everyone, we do have a follower goal of 7,200 that was just started a couple minutes ago. We are at 7,148 followers, all thanks to you all. I really appreciate you all hanging out and stuff. Zero just reached his 5 stream streak. Thank you very much, Zero. It's time to dive into some top of show announcements, everybody. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I've got some new stuff to go over with everybody. First things first, get out of the way now. I know some of you are eagerly awaiting the new ships to fall into Fleet Viewer. They are being worked on by VMXEO aggressively and hard and pushing really hard on them. 3 of them are done: Perseus, Clipper, and the Alpha Wolf. They have not been integrated yet. We got 2 more ships to do, or sorry, 3 more: the Salvation, Ox, and MDC. But we're going to get through those, get them on Fleet Viewer as soon as possible. Thank you for the patience. The question bot should be working tonight. So if you do question and then you put the word question and then write your question, the bot should pick it up. We're kind of testing it right now. You see Piggles in chat. Sir Piggles, salute to you, buddy. Really appreciate the help. So, oh,
It
okay.
is case
So
sensitive, Grim.
so it is case sensitive. Okay, so you have to do capital Q and then UESTION and lowercase. Okay, and that should put your question into the bot. Okay, so there you go. That's how you get your question in. Do that now. Sometimes the bot goes down after a while. It's obviously actively being worked on by Piggles. So get your questions in now. I'll probably circle back to them later, but we will get to the questions for sure. Those of you over on YouTube, I know we got a big YouTube community. If you have a Twitch account as well and you wouldn't mind open this up on like a second browser tab in Twitch, trying to get those 75 average viewers per stream. We're very, very close to partners. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be a huge, huge help. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into some top of show announcements. We got a lot to cover here. Let me swing over. First and foremost is the Perseus giveaway. We've been talking about this for about a solid month and a half now. Those of you know that those of you that know about the giveaway know that it ends on December 2nd. When is December 2nd? That is this Tuesday. Okay, this Tuesday we're going to do the Perseus stream, and we are going to give it away live on stream. How do you get in on that? Well, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is scan that QR code, or you can go to the Gleam giveaway link, which is posted right here in chat. You can go to that Gleam giveaway link. That's hard to say. And you can enter to win this Perseus totally free. Can get in on it. Hurry up, though. Only got till December 2nd. If you got some friends that really like the Perseus, shoot that link to them. Again, there's going to be a big one. Perseus, 120 months insurance. Maybe I'll throw in a paint too, a paint of your choice, like the concierge paint or something. We'll see. Real quick announcement I want to say on giveaways too. We did give away the Clipper. The first place winner did not get back to me in time, so it went to our good buddy Hudson Hawk in chat. However, our first place winner did end up getting in contact with me, so I'm going to see what I can do for him. Don't totally know what I can do for him yet, but we're going to try something. I always try to stay true to the giveaway winners and stuff. Those of you that have won giveaways in the past will know that. So still trying to figure that out. But tonight, we're giving away an L22 Alpha Wolf. Why are we giving away an Alpha Wolf tonight? Well, I was planning on giving away a Salvation. I really was. And then today, I went into game, and for the first time, I checked out the Alpha Wolf. Now, many of you will remember on earlier streams, I said that I'm not getting the Alpha Wolf. I'm going to stick with my Wolf because I like the way it looks, and I like the ballistic Gatlings. Well, CIG, of course, kicked my legs out from underneath me, and they released the ballistic weapons kit and the energy weapons kit for both Alpha Wolves, or both Wolves, the Alpha and the base. And I gotta be honest with you, the Alpha Wolf is really pretty. I gotta say, the changes to the underside they made, and those winglets coming out the side really make it look sharp. If you haven't seen it with the Antilles paint, it's really, really slick. I liked it so much, I was like, damn it, we have to do an Alpha Wolf giveaway. I owe it to this community, this amazing community. So we're going to do an Alpha Wolf giveaway. Now, how do you get in on that? Well, it's very, very easy. We've done it before, people. This is not a shocker. You're going to go to, if you're on YouTube, you're going to go to the link pinned to the top of chat right now. Okay. That is my, it should be my video for my part 1 of my new player guide, which my new player guide, by the way, has been getting rave reviews, which I'm really excited about. Thank you very much. You just need to leave a comment there, okay? It can be hi, hello, how are you? It can be Alpha Wolf, whatever you want to be. We're going to pull a random comment from there, and then we're going to do everyone's favorite. We're going to do a run of stream racers later, okay? We're going to do a stream racers for those of you on Twitch. We're going to pull the winner from that. You both go in the wheel of names. We're going to spin it. Whoever wins the Alpha Wolf, okay? We've done this many times. If anyone asks in chat, I would imagine my amazing community will chime in and let people know what's what. Also, on our initial On our initial stream for IAE, or the Perseus Day, the RSI Day, I did have a winner for the Perseus poster. Some of you will remember, though, that I said that the Perseus poster was not final art. It was not finished because I did not have the render for Fleet Viewer yet. That is not true anymore. I do have the render, so the poster has been updated. This is the poster that was won by the winner. That winner has already been chosen. It's a one-of-one poster. That poster will be going out, and that's your first peek of the Perseus render for STARJUMP Fleet Viewer. Big thanks to VMXEO for that. All right. We got one more thing to talk about. One more thing to talk about before we can get into IAE. We have a new sponsor. We have a new sponsor for the show, everybody. Pigeon Spaceport. Pigeon Spaceport, maker of ABS injected spaceships, specifically one, the Scorpius, is now a show sponsor. You can use the code STARJUMP over there and get a discount. So make sure you go over there and do that. Obviously, I haven't got fully built up around the sponsorship materials yet for Pigeon Spaceport. Really, a really nice group of people, though. It's been cool talking to them, getting to know them. Some of you will know them because they are the ones that did the, the Alisar. Gosh, I just lost some OG creds there. They did the Alisar model for CIG. They also did retribution models for some of the events. Really, really cool stuff. They've got the Scorpius model, though. You can get it with metal and wood bases. Comes in a nice wooden box, all ABS injection molded. Really, really nice stuff. Again, you can use the STARJUMP code over there to get get a discount on one of these. Here's the cool thing. They're sending me one of these, and I'm going to do an on-stream review of that product, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be giving it away. So we'll do an on-screen review. The wings do articulate, all that kind of good stuff. Really, really cool stuff. Really nice. And then when I get the review model that we can go through live on stream and check out, we will do a giveaway for that. There's some of that retribution model stuff right there. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. I don't know if any of you saw that in person, but there you go. Pigeon Spaceport, great group of people. I've had a good time getting to know them. I'll give you the link right here in chat for any of you who have not checked out their website. Make sure to go check them out. You'll start seeing the Pigeon Spaceport's presence get more ingrained into the streams moving forward. But wanted to go ahead and talk about them now. I have not had one of these in person. Okay. So I can't really comment on them in depth yet until I have one in hands. But what I can tell you is that they are officially licensed by CIG. Okay. So this is a real deal company. They are officially licensed by CIG. And they make a really cool product from what I can tell. Again, it's Scorpius right now. They'll eventually expand out to other stuff. But there you go, Pigeon Spaceport. More on them when we get a little bit deeper into the stream. We're going to go back and talk about them a little bit more. But yes, the plan is that I'm going to get I'm going to get free models, and I'll be able to give away those on future streams, okay? So if one of those would interest you, I'm a big Scorpius fan, so if any of those would interest you, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, here we go, everybody. It's time to dive in. Did I go, let me look. Did I go through all my notes? I probably didn't. Let me check. Did I go through all my notes? We talked about the Perseus giveaway, the Salvation giveaway, or not Salvation giveaway. We're giving away an Alpha Wolves. Remember, I changed it. Let me change my notes here.
Change it.
Yes, changed
we
that.
changed it so much.
Yes, and the Alpha Wolf's a little bit more exciting, at least for the moment.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. We are going to talk about a few things though before we get into things. The first thing I wanted to look at was funding for IAE so far. By the way, we got a great crowd forming tonight. 125 on Twitch. That's incredible. Thank you all. 105 on YouTube. Really appreciate that. I feel like I may have screwed the YouTube thing up by stopping the stream accidentally and restarting it. Sorry about that. But those of you on YouTube, appreciate you tuning into both channels. The YouTube community has been amazing lately. Thank you very much. But yes, funding. Look at this. This is incredible. We are way past where we normally are this time of year. This is the IAE. I mean, they've been killing it. There's no way anyone can look. I mean, you have to wonder what the conversations are at CIG this year. with funding. And there's been some criticism of some of the funding decisions that have been made, blades, other things like that. Oh, wait, real quick, I'm going to pause. Hob8Y92 says, "What's up, Graham? I'm pumped for the Perseus poster." Yes. Hopefully you saw it earlier. I did share it, the final one. This is the final one with the final art. I will be shipping that out to you. Very cool. But funding's been doing gangbusters. And honestly, for any criticisms people have had about the funding specifically, I wouldn't expect any changes because obviously they are doing something right. Oh, sorry, Piggles has went to sleep. Piggles, if you're still watching, buddy, thanks for setting things up. I know we might have a few little bugs, but thank you for getting the bot running. I appreciate that, buddy. So yeah, I mean, funding doing amazing. I mean, all it does is take one look here, and you're going to see that by end of December, their funding is going to be the biggest jump in the past, over the past several years. It's going to be the biggest jump that I think we've seen. It'll rival the jumps that were made in 2022 and the jump that was made in 2020. I don't remember what happened with 2022, but I do remember the important thing that happened with 2020. 2020 was the year that CIG got its first bit of persistence in game. I know because that's when I started really diving in with both feet with Star Citizen. Because that was sort of the milestone I had set to dive into Star. I've been following the project since the Kickstarter, but it took some level of persistence before I would fully dive in. And that's what happened there in 2022. Did you see the Star Citizen live news? I imagine you're talking about the ship discussion. Yep, we're going to go through all that. We're going to talk all about that. Obviously, I got opinions. I might go into 3D too. We might look at some of that whole D, whole E stuff and a few other things. So anyway, Star Citizen funding, again, they're doing really, really great. I don't think anyone can say that CIG is honestly not killing it right now. I've been impressed, but and actually I was going to say I'm not totally surprised, but actually I think I am surprised at the funding this year because I'm one of those players that in art, I don't know how you are on this, but I'm one of those players where new features really drive my spending, because new features getting put into the game makes me feel like they're making progress on the game, makes me feel like I should invest more money. But what I think this year showed was that a year dedicated to content can also do really well from a money perspective. Also, I think you can calculate in the fact that there was 27 ships released this year, as we found out. It was definitely one or two every month. Think about that. So content-rich gameplay, new ships on a regular basis, it just equaled a big month. Now the unfortunate thing for CIG devs is that now you got to keep these metrics going. So now the ship team, okay, now you pushed out 27 ships. So what are you going to do next year? You know what I mean? You can't go back to pushing out 14 ships. All the developers have got to keep pace now. And hopefully CIG is able to maintain good morale, good energy. Hopefully developers aren't getting burned out in any way. Sounds like they are building their teams. So that's good to hear. We heard John Crew talk a little bit about that on the SCL. But yeah, really amazing stuff here with the funding. For those of us that are playing the game for 1.0 and not really playing the game for now, it's exciting as well. Even if we had a year where a lot of new features didn't come in the game, it's still exciting to see funding where it's at, because good funding means the project has a better chance of reaching 1.0 or even getting finished at all. You know what I mean? So some of you will remember my earlier streams back at the beginning of this year. I was actually pretty against CIG's plans to not focus on feature work and focus on content. Now that we're on the back end of that year, I feel like I was probably wrong. A lot of you will know that I'm a content creator, a streamer, whatever you want to call it, that will totally admit when I'm wrong, and I was definitely wrong here. One, I'm glad they waited on the features because it was clear they needed a lot more time to cook, especially engineering. And two, I do think the game has gotten to a more playable state in a lot of ways. I mean, I would assume you agree with this, with the type of gameplay you do. I mean, would you say the game has been more playable this year than in any year past?
Yeah, 100%. I think that, a lot of it has to do with the content they were kicking out wasn't just the standard usual that we get every couple months, where it was, we're going to do Jump Town, and we're going to do Xenothreat, and we're going to do, insert, event here. And then those events are there for a couple weeks, a month, a patch, and then they take them away. And then you're like, okay, now what do I do? Okay, now I got to go back to grinding bounty missions or bunkers or just space trucking. The fact that we got this new stuff, while not all of it's amazing and great, a lot of it is, well, I mean, pretty much all of it's replayable, and that's great. It gives us something to do that's new, and it'll get old, but then they'll give us something else to get into.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately CIG's, they've always got to balance things, right? And we've already heard a little bit for next year where there's going to be a slower cadence on the content stuff. Instead of being a monthly thing, it's probably going to be more of a every 2 months thing. I think that's a very smart decision. Jared went over that on his show. I do love that he addressed that. I would love for him to even expand upon what CIG's plans are. Maybe Chris Roberts will come out with a letter from the chairman early next year or something that sort of expands on what those plans are. But I do think the slowdown of content will be better because I think it'll give us a little bit more time to get through the content and enjoy the content and dig in. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't think it's going to be a negative to sort of slow things down from, Rough Gaming says, I like your cup just materializing from thin air. Yeah, thank you. It's my NASA cup. I don't have my STARJUMP cup tonight. We're doing the NASA cup.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think the slower pace too will allow them to better refine the patches. We've had a couple patches, especially with this one that we just previously had prior to IAE, which was really buggy, lots of issues. Took them a little bit to get it fixed. I think a slower cadence will let us refine patches a little bit more, and it's not going to push as much content down our throats. We got to keep up with the story. But it'll still allow us to enjoy what they provide in addition to adding on to Nix, which is going to be huge this year, or next year.
That's actually a great point. By the way, everyone, just quick reminder, if you do have a question, the bot will pick it up, but it needs to be a capital Q, and then the rest of question needs to be all lowercase case. Apparently it is case sensitive tonight. So make sure to format your question like that. If you don't, we may just copy your question and repaste it with the correction, which people may have seen I just did. So I mean, we'll see. It's obviously been a huge year for CIG, and I think it's a real testament to where the game is growing and the audience that CIG is appealing to. Every time CIG makes a big fundamental change, I've heard the same thing from, diehard backers. Oh, there's going to be end the game. This is not what people backed for, but the game is bringing in more and more money every year. So obviously CIG is doing something right here. Criticisms aside, they're obviously doing something correct. So
do you think part of that has to do with the lack of concepts this year? In general, just no concepts at all, just the straight to flyable.
I'm planning on doing an entire show on this subject, and getting back to after IAE, getting back to some of our pre-planned shows. I know, Art, we have one that we're specifically trying to get together and make happen before IAE. We'll get back to that after IAE. But I have an episode planned on that. I think it's a big discussion we should have. I mean, as many of you know, that I am not I'm not fully just totally fine with no more new concepts other than the battle cruiser, of course. In some ways, I like the ships marinating for at least a little bit, a year, year and a half at most. I don't think ships should be on concept for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But I think, you know, a year or year and a half of concept time is fine. And here's the reason I think that, because it allows players to create a dialogue around the ship and for CIG to read that dialogue. That's assuming they read it and take into account some of that stuff. Maybe they don't, so it doesn't matter. But I do feel like sometimes with these ships going straight to flyable, they sort of lose a little bit of their time to cook and be in the backer dialogue. And I think sometimes when CIG releases these straight to flyable sales, we first off, we don't even get the like Q&A for the ships till like 2 days later. Well, they're getting better on that actually. They're getting them out same day now. But we really don't have like a full idea of the ships now, and it's like bye 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 bye. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel like with the concepts though, we still get time to kind of figure out if the ship fits within our fleet right and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm one of those people that's a little split. I'm okay with concept sales, but I do think they should be limited to like a year, year and a half. Not after that, they have to go into production, sort of thing. But CIG's going a different direction. They're doing straight to flyable stuff now, no new concepts. You know,
Well,
you know,
I've got two thoughts on that.
Yeah.
One, I agree with what you're saying. I think, and I agree with what you were saying at the very end. I think the straight to flyable stuff is it's really easy for players to do the exact opposite of what you were thinking, and that was
Yeah.
think about my fleet. I see a ship, it looks cool. I watch the little quick trailer they put together in
Yeah.
their perfect lab where nothing breaks or things, everything works perfectly there. And I buy it real
Yeah.
quick. It's one of those knee jerk, I'm going to buy it. And then I get it in there and I start playing with it. And it's like, maybe this isn't my thing.
Yeah.
But I think this also opens up the age of, and we've already started seeing this, and that's the age of variance
Yeah.
on things.
100%.
I think we're going to see a lot more variance
Yeah.
for a lot of these straight to flyable ships to fill the gaps where these people, if the community, and again, like you said, I don't know how much the community as a whole sways CIG on decisions on things.
Yeah.
But if all of us get together and go, this MDC vehicle or whatever, this PDC on a truck, like we need a missile variant of that, and then 2 months later we get a missile variant, and we buy that too.
It'll be interesting to see how ships are affected. Like the ship releases are affected. I mean, here, and let me be very clear to anyone in chat who obviously maybe disagrees with me, which is totally fine. I think most players actually disagree with me on this, but I would just say this. Obviously, CIG shouldn't listen to me because they haven't done any new concepts this year and they're killing it. And the ships they've released this year, I don't think they've all been successful. I think there's been some successful ones and some unsuccessful ones, but that was also the case back when they were doing concepts, right? So I don't look at it as like, oh man, they're not doing concepts, everything's ruined. I don't look at it like that at all. I think they're going to keep making amazing spaceships. They're going to be awesome. Everyone's going to love them. Some are going to be great. Some are not going to be great. But so for me, it's just someone who likes to ruminate and talk about ships for a long time and see them go through their development. It's a little bit of a loss, but ultimately, like from a 3,000 foot view, or 30,000 foot view, whatever the saying is, ultimately, I'm fine with there being no new concepts. I'm fine with that. Besides the battlecruiser, which we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the battlecruiser. Moving on though, obviously we got a little bit to talk about. Okay, so we're going to catch up on some manufacturing news. Okay, we're gonna catch up on that real quick. We are then going to do a sort of catch up. Let me go to my notes here. We're then going to catch up on the IAE ship developer discussion, the Star Citizen Live that happened. We're going to go all that news. I know a lot of you saw that already, and we're going to go through all that. Okay, we're going to go through it. Just a reminder, everybody, if you want to get in on that giveaway, it's super easy. If you're on YouTube, there's a link pinned to top of chat. You just go to that link. You leave a comment on that new player guide video. I'm going to pull one of those random comments left tonight. If you're on Twitch, you don't have to buy tickets today. I know I flip-flop sometimes, so there's some confusion on that. Sorry about that. Not doing a ticket buy tonight. If you want to get on the Alpha Wolf giveaway on Twitch, all you need to do is stick around. We're going to do Stream Racers here in a little bit, and we'll take the winner from Stream Racers. We'll take the winner from the random YouTube comments. We'll put you both in the wheel of names, and we'll spin that wheel, okay? MT Stunner just gifted how many? 5 community subs. MT Stunner, giving you the double salute, my friend. Thank you very much. Very, very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Socially Confused says, question, have you been in Evocati for engineering? I have, but not the newest build. I did hear some interesting things about the newest build. We're going to talk about that, though. MT Stunner, thank you very, very much for those gifted subs. That is absolutely amazing. Appreciate you, buddy. MT Stunner, obviously a very loyal star jumper. Been hanging out with us for a long time now. Got 178 over on Twitch and 150 on YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Okay. We're going to run through the schedule, okay? And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on some... Op Focus, thank you for that subscription. Appreciate it, buddy. We're not going to spend a lot of time on some manufacturers, obviously. The last time I left you, we had talked about Robert Space Industries. Obviously, we talked about the Perseus. We talked about the Salvation. We even gave a Salvation away. Have a Perseus giveaway going on right now. Origin, we didn't talk too much about. We're going to discuss them a little bit later, though. Next night, while I was on vacation, we talked about Drake. You know I'm going to stream about Drake, okay, even if I'm away. It's just going to happen, okay? DefenseCon next year with the Ironclad coming out. I'm not taking any vacations because I'm going to be here when the Ironclad releases. But we talked about the newest ships from Drake, the Drake Clipper, amazing ship, by the way, and the Drake Golem Ox, also an amazing ship. So we talked about those and went through the deals for Drake's. A lot of fun. We gave a Clipper away. Had a blast. I have been enjoying my Clipper quite a bit. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. That's where I left all of you, okay? By the way, thank you for the follows, everyone. We've had several tonight. It's going to be hard to call out all the follow names. Varian, Brother, Raven, Grim, Project Gnome, Strokin' Dude, hell of an email, or hell of a name. Tedman8, thank you for that subscription. But I left you all at Drake. It's time to swing on over to the next manufacturers. Now, the next manufacturer is kind of interesting, especially a few of them. So they had Apoa, Banu, Asperia, Gatak, and Gray's Market. Okay. Vigilant Fox, thank you for that subscription. Appreciate that very much. I do want to talk real quick, though, about a couple of these manufacturers. Most of the deals, there was no new ships released for these. Most of the deals for these ships are still in place, a lot of the same ships. But specifically, I did want to talk about the Banu real quick and the Banu Merchantman, $650 for IAE. You know, it's interesting. We may only have about 2.5 more years of the Banu Merchantman being at the price it is at. We've heard John Cruz say that the Banu Merchantman may go into development late next year. I don't think he would flippantly just say that. The Banu Merchantman is a fan favorite. People ask about it all the time. And when on the Ship Showdown Q&A video that was done a few months back, John Crew mentioning that, I don't think that was just a random thing he would say. I think he's only saying that if there's a very, very good chance that this ship is going back into production. That doesn't mean it 100% will. I just think there's a very good chance it is. The last we heard, the ship is around 239 meters long. Just so everyone knows, that's Idris sized, is a full-on big boy capital ship. Again, last we saw of it. I doubt CIG is going to like pull that back now. I think it's going to be the big boy, the 239 meter ship. I do think it's going to go through a bit of a redesign, But for those of you that were able to get this ship for a really low price, hang on to it. It looks like it might finally go back into production. Next one was obviously that I want to talk about is Gatak, specifically the Raylan. Currently listed at $225 for IAE. If you are interested in the Raylan and you want to get it for the cheapest possible price, you really should try to pick it up at IAE. I'm not big on telling people to buy ships, but I am big on telling people to save money. Okay. And if you want to save money, now's a good time to get in on this ship. Okay. We've already heard its cargo capacity is going up quite a bit. Do I have those numbers offhand? Let me check. I know I had them in a conversation. Stand by. Do I have it? I may not have it. Chat will know it. Chat will know it offhand. I think the Raylan's going up to, as a matter of fact, I probably can click on it, right? Do they have the updated information here? They don't always put it in here. I wish this linked to the actual ship page. But anyways, Raylan, its cargo is being doubled, which is going to be incredible for owners of that ship. And it's a really cool alien ship. Cosmic Control says 640 SCU, which I do think is right. That's pretty big. That's now on par with something like, you know, a C2 Hercules or something like that. So the cargo capacity of this ship has gone way up. It's alien. It does massive transforms. I do think it's getting a slight redesign for its flight ready thing. I think it's going to lose these VTOLs personally. I think they're going for more of an integrated main engine within the nacelles. But regardless, it's going to mostly maintain its shape. But if you're a fan of the Raylan, now's the time to try to be sourcing it for the cheapest price because its flight ready price will be higher. CIG's already told us this. Price is about to go up. Okay. I actually used a buyback ticket to get it out of buybacks. Okay. I used a token. So, again, those of you wanting to ask questions, it's capital Q, the rest of the word lowercase, and the bot will pick it up. And then Gray's Market. Last thing I want to talk about with them real quick. As you know, we have the Shiv currently. CIG did say, though, on their most recent SCL that another Gray's Market ship is coming next year. So if you're a Gray's Market fan, be excited. VMXEO says, as a Raylan owner, where do I go from here? Ironclad? You know, I would say currently the Ironclad is the most accessible step in the cargo ladder. You're sort of going from that 600 SCU scale up to something like 1500, 200, 2000 SCU cargo. Ironclad would be your next step on that ladder rung. I still think there's plenty of room in between there, but there's no ships available for that yet. But Ironclad would be your next step, then something like a Kraken, and then you're going to hull C, hull D, hull E, and possibly more cargo ships in the future. So that was that manufacturer. Pretty exciting. I think the big news would be, you know, being that the Raylan is in development. It is a next year ship. I'm thinking early next year. Some people said Alien Week. It could be Alien Week, but it could be sooner than that for all we know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let's speculation. I personally am still thinking it's Alien Week, though. It did sound like they were still figuring some stuff out with that ship. Next, we had Kruger. Okay, we had Kruger and Mirai and Misc Day. We're going to specifically talk about Kruger right now because that's the one with the new ship. It is the L22 Alpha Wolf, which is the laser repeater version of the Wolf. Obviously, the big thing here in regards to the Alpha Wolf is the Wolf also became relevant again because CIG is selling a bespoke weapon kit, both a ballistic one and the energy one, the laser repeater one, and it can go on either one of these ships. So it really becomes sort of an aesthetic thing, in my opinion. Do you like the Alpha Wolf's look, or do you like the base Wolf's look, and then you buy the kits, right? I will go ahead and tell all of you, obviously we're giving away an Alpha Wolf tonight. It's an amazing ship. And part of the reason we're giving it away is because I went into game and just found the ship incredible. CIG did a bang-up job on the Alpha Wolf, and here again, it was a ship that I was not too excited about. It's just I thought it was kind of a boring thing, but then when I actually flew it, it was magic. So Alpha Wolf, some really cool paints. I cannot recommend, if you do get this ship or if you win it tonight, I cannot recommend more the Antilles paint. In game, this Antilles paint is beautiful. It looks amazing. Let it load up here. I don't know why the website's taking a while. Ship, the Alpha Wolf was $105 war bond, coming in with the bonus paint. Obviously, if you're concierge, it gave you the additional third paint there. You can get a duo pack for $190 for both the Wolf and Alpha Wolf. I personally don't think that's a great deal. I would just really get one platform and get the kits. It really does not make a lot of sense to have both. But
so
here,
speaking of the kits,
yeah,
how do you feel about them selling the weapons kit? Personally, I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'll answer this. Real quick, everyone, you can see CIG's got the weapon kits in here, the laser weapons kit, excuse me, and the ballistics weapon kit. They can go on either one of the ships, $12 and $15 respectively. Here's my thought on that. I can see why people don't like it. I can also see why people don't like the flight blades. I totally get it. The reason it does not bother me is because selling stuff like this is just a microscopic version of CIG selling ships in general. Remember, when you buy a ship, you're also getting weapon loadouts on it. You're getting power creep. You're getting the base, the best version of whatever that is at that time, because we always know the newest ships CIG comes out with are the best ones at that gameplay loop at that time. You know what I mean? And then they just get nerfed slowly. So in almost every way we interact with this game, with a very few exceptions, there's a bit of a pay to win kind of thing going on. It just is. These fall right in line with that. I think that, again, in the future, when we have blueprints, it will be interesting to see if some of this stuff does switch to buying blueprints or if you're actually buying the weapon. In this specific case with the Alpha Wolf weapons kits, I liked it because I had the Wolf. I was able to buy a CCU to the Alpha Wolf, and then which gave me the Alpha Wolf, obviously, with its laser repeaters. And then I was just able to buy a ballistics weapon kit, and I had an all-new ship with the capabilities of my previous ship. All for the cost of whatever it was, all in, I think, $35 or something for the CCU and the weapons kit. I look at that as giving players choice. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like what they did with the Talon and the Talon Shrike. I love that ship, but I hate the fact that they're two separate ships with two bespoke weapon setups. There's no kit for them. So if you want to do missiles one day, you have to have the Shrike. If you want to do guns one day, you got to have their base. And there's no way to, have one platform and switch the weapons out. I don't love that. I don't really love it on the Ares Starfighter either. I'd rather the bespoke weapons be switchable. It gives players choice, and it gives players a cheaper path to that choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I think this was a much better decision to give power back to the players that if they want to spend just a little bit. I mean, and its thing is they're not $100. They're not $60.
No.
They're like $15. I mean,
but here's the thing.
And it gives you choice.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know I'll be in the minority on this. I don't feel any different with the flight blades either. If the flight blades had been a just pure buff across the board, Anis Thumb. Am I saying that right? Anishma. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Anishima. 361 just gave out 5 community subs. Anishma. I think it's Anishma. Anishma, am I saying
there's no I there. Yeah, I think you're right.
Art screwed up. Anishma, thank you very much for those 5
I'm a
community
failure.
subs. We really appreciate you. Double salute for those. Thank you to you. Thank you to Empty Stunner earlier. Thank you for those gifted subs. It goes a long way. Really appreciate that, everyone.
And a first-time chat. First-time chat as well.
Oh, nice. Very nice. And Ishmael, hopefully you are enjoying the hangout. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. I say names wrong all the time though, so don't feel bad if I am saying it wrong. But yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that. With the flight blades, here's my thing. And again, a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I'll ready my my shield for all the comments in chat. But if it had been a buff just across the board, 100%, just better in every way, I wouldn't have loved it. I would have seen the issue with it. The problem was it wasn't. Yes, it buffed some things, but then it nerfed other things about your ship. If it made you faster in a straight line, it nerfed your ability, your maneuverability stats, right? And vice versa. So to me, that is not really any different than one of these weapons kits. You know what I mean? It's giving you advantages in one area and disadvantages in another. So for example, if you switch to the ballistics kit, okay, well, now you got the ballistics weapon. You can do what it does, but you got limited ammo. You get what I'm saying? So there's pluses and minuses with everything. And this is why I personally did not freak out with the flight blade thing, because to me, it felt like it was right in line with everything. Now, I do agree with everyone that these should go in the in-game store pretty soon. Okay. Rage One just resubscribed for 10 months. Rage One, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Everyone, real quick, you do not need to do exclamation ticket tonight. If you're on Twitch and want to get in on a giveaway, all you got to do is hang out. We're going to do Stream Racers here in just a little bit, okay? About an hour, we'll do Stream Racers, okay? And that's all you got to do. You ain't got to do exclamation ticket or anything. We're going to do Stream Racers. A lot of people seem to like it. But yeah, there's the Alpha Wolf. We'll be giving away one of those tonight. If you're on YouTube, just go to the link pinned to the top of chat. That's my new player guide video. Thank you, everybody, for spreading that around. It did get me one extra referral. Thank you. But make sure you share that with your friends. Leave a comment on that video. I'm going to pull a random comment from tonight. And if you're over on Twitch, we'll do Stream Racers. We'll pull that winner. We're going to throw you both in the Wheel of Names. We're going to spin it. Whoever wins will win the L22 Alpha Wolf tonight. Badass ship. Okay.
I think the other thing that... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Yoko. I will hydrate. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Art.
I was just going to say that I think that CIG is learning that as this game changes and as this game moves... especially with, I'm going to use that armor word that I'm hoping every day for. A lot of that's going to change how we fight in general. So, if they lock like the Ares and stuff like that, if they lock those ships down with just one weapon set, eventually they may not sell those ships anymore. So I think going back and revisiting those weapon kits is going to be a huge advantage for them in the near future.
I agree. And anyone following along with Evocati, the Evocati leaks, will see that in the newest build of Evocati that fell in today, was it today or yesterday, armor's in. Like the real deal armor.
Cannot wait to get my claws into that.
I have not tried it all, but I have heard that on engineering screens now, there is an armor information thing. In addition to that, I have heard that light fighters are unable to just kill capital ships now. So we'll see though. Well, Striker 199 says full armor though, question mark. I actually, to be totally fair to what Striker's saying, I don't know if it's the full implementation of armor. There is real armor though. I don't know if it's the full implementation though. So thank you, Striker. That's a good, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
I'm curious how armor's going to place into with distortion and all that other stuff too. So being able to distort those capital ships quick, it's going to be interesting. Yeah,
I agree. The next one was Anvil Aerospace. Now, the thing I want to talk about with Anvil is simply the fact that the F8C is now a ship you can just buy like any other ship. Let me get to it. There it is. The F8C Lightning for $300, heavy fighter. You can get this now for those of you that were a previous owner of the ship. You got there the hard way, so to speak. You all got lucky and got this really cool paint, which if you haven't seen it in game, is pretty nice. I haven't looked at it in game myself, but I watched someone else stream it from in the game. And I thought it looked incredible. And for me personally, as an OG F8 owner, I was happy with it. I was happy with it. I'm first off, I'm glad it's going to where anyone can get it, and if they truly want it. And I'm glad CIG gave a pretty special, cool paint for those of us who have had it for a long time. It's a really nice sort of digital camo pattern with the F8 lightning bolt sort of logo on it, which is a really cool logo, and the trim. Really, really slick. I thought it complemented the ship really well, and I thought it was nice of CIG to do that. Ultimately, I am glad the ship is available for everyone to buy if they want it. Okay, because I do know a lot of people that still wanted the ship and could not buy it. So yeah, F8 Lightning now for Anvil. All right, let's move to the next manufacturer. This one I do have to talk about a little bit. We're talking about Graycat, Argo, and Consolidated Outland. Nothing too much to talk about on Argo and Consolidated Outland. I think the biggest thing on Consolidated Outland is that I was really hoping during that ship discussion show we would get some sort of talk on how the Pioneer development's going. But to be honest with you, I think the Pioneer is going to be a ship they just slow toil on for a couple more years. I do think the Pioneer is like a end of 2027 or possibly even 2028 ship. I really do. I think they know it's a big endeavor, and that's why they're tackling it early. But specifically with Graycat, we got the MDC. Now, for those of you that watched my guest appearance on Space Tomatoes Show, the launch podcast, the launch sequence podcast, or any other time I've been on Info Runners recently talking about this vehicle, I specifically said multiple times, the only way CIG could make this thing interesting to me is if it was a point defense turret mounted on the back of a vehicle that I could park the vehicle, walk away from it, and it would still operate and protect me. And that's exactly what CIG did. The funny thing is, I'm sure people will find a lot of interesting ways to use this ship. I saw a funny meme where people were saying, oh, you don't need to worry about the Nautilus not being out. We already have one. And it just showed a Polaris with a bunch of MDCs driving out, acting as like sentry turrets, sentry mines, sorry. But people will find a usage for this vehicle now. But I think when we start doing base building, especially that small base building where we're just sort of building those small or extra small and small medium buildings, this thing is going to be awesome. You're going to be able to park it out where you're building your building. It will give you some level of protection while you're doing the actual construction. I can see it being a big deal there. CIG did exactly what I was hoping for. Again, obviously based off that MXC platform that they talked about being sort of Graycat's platform for variants. We already have the MTC, which is the Mobile Tactical Center. We have the MDC, and then they talked about an MSC, was it MSC? Everyone let me know. MSC, I think, was the one they talked about, which was going to be a crafting variant. They had a lot of mentions of crafting vehicles. We're going to talk about that as we get to the SCL information. But yeah,
I would really like to see this variant on an Atlas chassis. Just saying.
Yeah. With like a bigger point defense thing on it. Yeah, I
100%,
think that'd be really, really cool. Yeah, I think like essentially an automated base turret. Yeah, for 100%. And honestly, it would sell. Okay, chat's correcting me. MFC. Okay, thank you everyone. MFC. MFC. Probably mobile fabrication. Mobile defense. I'm trying to think. Mobile defense chassis, right? So it'll be mobile fabrication chassis, I guess is what the acronym stands for. But yeah, I love it. Again, the fact that they went with mobile fabrication center. Yeah, the fact that they went with this with the with the PDC on top of here that you can switch out with others made it an instant buy for me, because the type of gameplay I do, I can see this thing being super helpful. Even if you're just a solo player who likes to go to bunkers or you know, I remember when I was doing Fight for Pyro and stuff, I would just solo go to a location, have to clear it out. But sometimes it'd be like a player and a fighter harassing me. Just having this thing up, even just to pull its attention from time to time, not that the ship wouldn't destroy this thing, but just having one of these to pull the attention so that I can maybe make an on-foot escape from a location would be huge. Okay.
This would be great for a line in mine too, to protect the mining hole.
That's a great, yeah.
People just love to fly over and bomb it just to ruin everybody's day.
Yeah, great point. Has a bunch of cool paints, nothing super crazy. The Perdition is the limited edition one, which is sort of the A-team paint, I believe. And then there's the Ice Front, which is the Concierge. Not a big fan of the Ice Front. I ended up getting the, which one did I get? I got the Factory Standard and the Perdition, I believe. But yeah, really cool. Comes with the PDT Ballistic Gatling automated turret that you can switch out with the other automated turrets. 7 meters in length. Pretty straightforward. I don't know why this is taking a while to populate. Bear with me. Yeah, the price stuff is not populating for me. I don't know why. I thought these are still on sale during Best in Show Day, or is that on Finale Day?
So somebody mentioned it in chat. What if it was, so what if they went back and took this option and put it on the Centurion? Like swap out the Centurion, how it's set up with the quad lasers, and switch it into a PDC. I vote yes.
I think it would only make sense if it, I think it would only make sense though if it could handle multiple PDCs.
So you like think, like maybe one on two or three in the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would have to. Otherwise, it would be too big of a platform for too weak of a weapon. Because remember that I always look at the, and again, by the way, everyone, this ship was a $45 war bond or $50 credit. So, and you could buy the duo pack. Again, I personally would wait for the fabrication version. Yeah, going back to what you were saying though on that, I always look at ships or vehicles like the Atlas platform vehicles. You can't just look at the vehicle itself. You got to look at what it takes to get that vehicle on site. So minimum now with that, you're talking an Asgard or Hercules, right? So you start, and all to get a size 1, size 1, size 2 PDC on site. You know what I mean? So for me, the Atlas platform would have to have 2, maybe even 3 to make it worthwhile.
What if they were 2, like size 2? What if we had like a special?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that leads us to another question, which is, are we going to see a bigger PDC? The first place I think that's appropriate to ask that question is the Javelin. You know what I mean? Will we know the Javelin's got PDCs. We've seen them in the latest Squadron 42 trailer. But the real question being, will those PDCs have to grow, or are they already bigger and we just can't really tell because of the size correlations on the in-game trailer? But it would make sense for the Javelin to have size 2 or even size 3 PDCs. It's a big ship. Remember, the Javelin's 480 meters long, everyone. It's more than twice the length of an Idris. So you get to this place where do you put more PDCs on it? Like a crazy amount, like 25 PDCs? Or do you still put a limited number of PDCs like you would the Idris? Maybe it's got 6 to 8 PDCs, but they're just bigger. You know what I mean? Moving on, going to our next manufacturer, Crusader and Tumbrel. Nothing big with this manufacturer for this release. I think the big deal though with this is kind of related to some giveaway stuff, which we might do tonight. We might do an extra giveaway after the Wolf, by the way. They have 2 patch bundles going on right now. One is the Epoch Aves, which you see here. It's got the really cool paint for the Crusader Intrepid and the cool armor and gun. And then there is another variant of that, which is the Epoch Dust Devil variant with the big crazy armor set, and again the cool paint job for the Intrepid. They are really nice paint jobs for the Intrepid. Now I melted my Intrepid, so unfortunately can't use these, but I bought one of each of these to give away, and we might do one of those tonight and one of those on our Perseus giveaway show on Tuesday. Okay, so all right, that's the only connection there with Crusader. All right, Art, take it easy, buddy. Have a good one, man.
Back to work I go.
All right, buddy.
See ya.
See you. Real quick, everybody. I'm going to disconnect from there. I can take my headset off now because I'm not talking to Art anymore. So I can be a little bit more comfortable here with the no headset. But yeah, that is Crusader and Tumbrel land system. By the way, everyone, we are going to get to some questions here right after this and before we go into the SCL. We're gonna do some questions here. I know some people asked some questions. Last but not least, here we had Aegis Dynamics for manufacturers. Obviously, the biggest manufacturer in Star Citizen, the most number of ships. We had the Idris go up for sale again. Of course, the Javelin went up for sale, those limited wave sales, all the usual ships here, which I won't go through. Many content creators have already covered it at length, so I don't think we need to sort of belabor it. Puddly P just resubscribed with Prime. Puddly P, thank you very much. Salute to you. Everyone that has followed, thank you very much for the follows. Appreciate that support. One thing I do think we should talk real quick, though, about is the Hammerhead. The Hammerhead is a ship that is in need of some help. We know that. The good news is the Hammerhead is sort of going through its gold pass, but I would even say it's going through some additional sort of reconcepting in that they are adding bulkheads and other things to get the ship up to snuff, make it appropriate for modern gameplay, make it work a little better with engineering, and we also may just see some quality of life changes as well. Okay, 1 second, everybody. So yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing there. Obviously, then we had our limited hull sales for the Idris at $1,900 and the Javelin at $3,000. No other big surprises from Aegis Day. I think there was a new paint released, right? The Sea Serpent and the Iron Core paints. Did anyone pick those up? Pretty expensive. $25 a piece, but that is the cost of those paints. It is what it is. Did anyone pick up the Sea Serpent or the Iron Core paint? I haven't really looked into these all that much. Looks like the Sea Serpent is a cool blues and black combined for the subdued Aegis Idris Sea Serpent livery. Kind of cool. And then the Iron Core paint here has the chrome and black colors of the Iron Core livery. Yeah, pretty cool. You know, if you like them, grab them. If you don't, pass on them. But yeah, pretty cool. We talked about the Kruger. We talked about that. We talked about Aegis. Next, I just want to talk about Best in Show, which is where we're at now in the IAE schedule. Okay, Best in Show. Best in Show winners for this year were the RSI Polaris, the Anvil Asgard, the Zeus Mark II ES, not the CL, the ES. And of course the Anvil Gladiator. There's some really cool posters and pendants that were released as a part of that will go out to owners of those ships. The cool thing about these is you can put them in some ships. I know the Clipper has a couple places to put them. I think the Intrepid does. And what's the other ship that does? I believe the Apollo on its walls has the ability to do that too. Chad, I'm not sure if anyone knows that specifically, but can you confirm that? Just responding to a quick message here, everyone. Sorry. But yeah, pretty cool pendants. Obviously there is the paints, which you can see here. A little bit better image of those is shown here. Pretty striking when you see it on the Polaris, actually. The Polaris is the one that I hadn't had a good view of really until this image, so it is very striking, and funny enough, I kind of like it. What would you call this color here, the main color? What would you call that color, chat? Gabsy, no, you have not missed the giveaway. If you're over on YouTube, you will see a link pinned to the top of YouTube chat. Okay, you just click on that link. It takes you to my new player guide part 1 video. Just leave a quick comment there. That's all you got to do. and just leave a quick comment. I'm going to pull a random comment from there. I'm going to do stream racers for all my awesome Twitch people. We're going to pull the winner from there. We're going to put you both in the wheel of names, and the winner will win the L22 Wolf. Okay. But yeah, kind of a burnt orange, kind of rust color. Kind of interesting. It kind of works on the Polaris, actually. It almost makes it look more industrial. I really like it on the Asgard. I'm pretty excited for that. That's my favorite application of the paint is on the Asgard. So I love that. And then, you know, we're seeing the Gladiator with its first new paint ever, which is pretty cool. Looks good on the Zeus as well. The funny thing is they went with the one that's got the stripes on it, which is like the CL paint. I don't know if this is going to work on the CL. Is anybody able to try this out yet? Does the new paint work on the CL? Let me know in chat if it does. And then obviously those ships are for sale. Wouldn't have an IAE without those ships, you know, being for sale. So if you want to get one of those, I will say that the Asgard has been one of my favorite ships of the past 12 months. Asgard came out. When did it come out? Last IAE, right? Right? I think it was last IAE. But yeah, I really enjoy the Asgard. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. Real quick, XLeaks 611 says, "Hey Graham, kind of off topic question, but when is the Fleet Viewer going to be updated with the new IAE ships?" Very soon. Our wonderful VMXEO who is in chat is actively working on them. 3 of them are done. 3 of them are still in production. So Perseus, Krug, L22 Alpha Wolf, and the Clipper are done. He's still working on the MDC, the Gollum Ox, and the Salvation. Okay, so we're making good headway. Once those are done, we will integrate them and everyone can start building their new fleet images. I know everyone's really excited to do that. Everyone give VMXEO a big salute in chat for all the hard work he does at that. VMXEO, an amazing artist, and I actually want to shout him out in a bigger way real quick here. If you love the ships that are in Fleet Viewer and how good they look, and you want to support the artist who does that work, okay, he does it in his own time for no money. If you want to support him, go to his coffee link there, throw a donation his way, support artists who do cool ass work. That is VMXEO's coffee link. Go there, donate for the guy. He does a lot of incredible stuff, and if he didn't do this stuff and help me out and help Starlet out, Fleet Viewer would not be a reality. Okay, I can 100% say that. So if you are a Fleet Viewer fan, head over there, throw some donations his way. I know he really appreciates it. He really does. So yeah, you can buy the Best in Show complete packs. I don't recommend buying packs, honestly. Here's the big deal with all this, though. You can now buy the Best in Show paints for previous years. Okay, last year, 2954. The 2953 paints, which were really nice. The 2952 paints, not my favorite, but I know a lot of people like them. The 2951 paints, which I'm definitely picking up because I did not get a chance to grab those, but those are now up for sale. And then the 2950 paints. I know a lot of people are after this and excited for this. I really wish this white and gold Valkyrie paint worked on the Asgard. I'm not sure if anyone was able to confirm if it does. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Has anyone ever been able to confirm that? I'm not sure. I doubt it. I think it's specifically Sergeant Perry says Valk paints do not work on the Asgard. Yeah, I thought that was the case. But yeah, thanks for the clarification. So there you go, 2950 paints. Kind of interesting that they did this. Oh, and they even did the 2954 paints, the controversial ones, yeah, with their colors. That's pretty cool. If you've ever wanted one of those, I might pick one of those up for my Reclaimer. How much is that paint? $13 for that one. Just kind of a rare old one. But yeah, there you go. I know a lot of people were wondering if these were ever coming back. It turns out they did. They did come back. So you can pick these up now. Again, I think I have most of the ones I want. The ones I don't have, though, are in the 2951 pack. I probably will pick up all of these as probably individually, even though I'll be spending more money. I want to be able to melt them individually. Yeah, it killed the gray market with these. Yeah, it probably did. It probably did. Not all. Here's the thing. There's still some paints that I think CIG is holding on to a little tighter. Those are those concept paints. So like the Thundercloud paint for the Perseus. And then other ones are like SKU limited paints. And what I mean by that is it's not actually a paint. It's considered a SKU. So a whole other ship, but it still technically is just a paint. And I can think of two of those. One is the Carrick Expedition paint for the Carrick Expedition, and the other one is the Nautilus Solstice paint, because the Nautilus Solstice is just treated as a whole other variant by CIG. I personally hope CIG retroactively changes that, where Nautilus Solstice owners still get the default paint. I think that is probably the case, but just something to remember when those ship, especially when something like the Nautilus comes out. I don't think that's the case on the Carrick Expedition, though. I think the Expedition paint is the base paint, unless they've changed that. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, there you go. Best in Show paints now available. Probably won't see these very often. Maybe they'll start doing them at every IAE, but maybe not. We'll have to see. I wouldn't count on these being there every year if it's something you've really been wanting. You know what I mean? I wouldn't count on it. All right, we're gonna get to some questions here. Okay. Let me get to a few questions. I do want to catch up a little bit. Let me go back to where we started. I'm going to start grabbing all these. I don't know if it captured everyone's question. Sorry. We are running the question bot made by Sir Piggles, but here we go. Altzilla SC says, question, when are we going to avenge Trispone's mom? That's a great question. On the SCL episode with John and Ben Curtis, Jared's dissed Trispone's mom. I don't know when we're going to avenge it, but we'll have to think of something. We can't let it go unheard. And by the way, everyone, we are going to get to that SCL discussion here right after a few questions, and we'll do some more questions after the SCL thing. I did talk to Trispone, though. He's appropriately hurt. OAOSC says, question, did the Perseus and L22 meet your expectations? Are there things you would change? I'll start with the L22 Wolf because I think it's the easiest. It exceeded my expectations. I thought the Alpha Wolf was going to be sort of just a boring power creep upgrade, and I didn't like that CIG was doing it. But with the bespoke weapon kits and the choice that gives players, I really like it. In game, it looks stunning. So I would say the L22 exceeded my expectations. Okay. In regards to the Perseus, I think it's tricky. I think the Perseus is probably the new high watermark for ships, for sure. So in regards to that, by the way, he's not actually hurt. It's a joke. Jared's just joking. Trist is fine. We had a laugh about it in private chat. Me, Trist, and Execute have a private DM that we just throw stuff in all the time, and we had a fun chat about it. The Perseus, though, I would say it exceeded my expectations. I do think it's the new high watermark for CIG for ships, interior, exterior, but more importantly than that, they made changes to the ship concept to better fit its role. Okay, they up the gun size. The ship performs well in its provided gunship role. So for those metrics, interior look, exterior look, and role application, it checked off all those boxes. So I think we have to say it either met our expectations or exceeded it for those of us that were impressed by the changes made. But even just with the size 8 gun increase, I think it exceeded expectations. Let's see here. Let me go to another one. Art says, FYI, I just spotted a bug. Oh, no, that is Dev Talk here. Get Squirrely says, question. Hello, test. Hello to you. Jen and Tonic says, how's VMXEO feeling about the Aurora Mark II after this week's SCL? VMXEO has heard a lot about the fan love for the Aurora Mark II that he created. Now that we know an Aurora Mark II is coming, it'd be interesting to see if they go that way. Part of me thinks they won't go that way specifically so that they're not ripping a fan concept. But I think it's a fan concept that is so loved that if they don't, then I think it almost feels too forced that they wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Maximilian question says, is it worth getting a reclaimer or waiting for a newer, large, medium salvage ship? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. That's a great question. I'd have to think about that a little bit. Look, there's going to be another large salvager coming. I definitely think that, possibly even a capital. But the Reclaimer is a really cool ship with a hell of a lot of personality. If you've never been inside one, it's really cool internally. CIG's already said that they know it needs a pretty major rework on the interior to fit gameplay better. I personally think that when they do that rework, the Reclaimer is going to be an awesome ship. It just requires them to get back to Aegis stuff. You know what I mean? And the ship does semi-function in game now, so it's probably just not a lot of priority behind it. So I think if you're buying the Aegis Reclaimer now, it has to be purchased because you just really, really like the work, like the look of the ship, and how teamwork occurs in it. You know, with the seating, the bridge seats, the claw seats, disintegrator seats, how everything is just kind of laid out. You have to kind of like the way that plays out, or like the vibes of the ship. I do own a Reclaimer, and I really like the Reclaimer. I'm excited for it to get a proper pass at some point in the future. I really am. Real quick, everyone, let me pull up a couple extra questions here. Stand by. You can do question. By the way, the bot will pick up your question if you do capital Q and then the rest of the letters lowercase. Okay. All right, let me pull up a few questions here. All right, let's see here. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. All right, going here. Tadpole Tommy says, question, will I win the Alpha 22 giveaway? Maybe. It's completely random. Completely random. You may in fact win. It's possible. You never know. Hang in there. Get in on it. Zero says, question, I'm curious about both the upcoming Sea Now ship, Consolidated Outland, and the Anvil ground vehicle, both crafters. We covering that today? Yes, we will. We're about to get to that. Let's see here. Rough Gaming says, question, orange sherbet or the multicolored? Ooh, that's a good question. What do you all think, chat? I think orange sherbet. I'm going to go with orange sherbet. Going with orange. By the way, everyone, if you like what I do, if you like what Old STARJUMP Grim does, you want to make a one-time donation to support my efforts in making more content for you all, better quality, and doing my part to keep Fleet Viewer operating, you can make those donations to my coffee link, which is down in chat. Thank you very much. Don't have to, though. Save your money if you need to. It's all good. But if you want that link, there it is. Appreciate it, as always, everyone. See here. Arbiter of Mankind says, question, is it possible for the Kraken to come out for Drake Defense Con? No, it's not possible. Not possible. I talked to someone who directly asked one of the CIG devs who is leading the Kraken team, and they were told at this past CitizenCon that the ship had only actually been in production for about a week. So even now, the ship has only been in production for about a month. Okay, so no, there's no way. They're not getting a ship as big as the Kraken done in 6 months. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's a 2026 ship at all. I think it'll come out in 2027, possibly for Drake Defense Con 2027. Yeah. Question from Keep It Secret says, hello, and can we start with my hull D got nerfed and also the hull E? Yeah, it got nerfed pretty bad, but we're going to talk about that. I have my opinions on that. We're going to get into it, and, you know, we'll discuss. We're going to get to that here in just a second. We're going to take 2 more questions, and then we're going to talk about SCL, everybody. The Captain Kern 797 says, question, do the Kruger Wolf ballistic and laser repeater weapons go on other ships if we purchase them from the store? No, they only go on the Wolf and the Alpha Wolf. So the way CIG is doing that is the reason the Kruger ships, specifically the Wolf, have those interchangeable bespoke weapons is because Kruger is technically a weapons manufacturer too, and CIG is sort of playing into the lore there. Offset Studio says, question, CIG talked about Origin to be one of the manufacturers working on something next year. Do you reckon it might be a new ship, G12A, 600i rework? It's hard to say. I'll be honest with you. I kind of think CIG is going to tick off the G12. I really do. I think the G12 has been a vehicle that has almost gone into production multiple times now. It's an easy one to get done. It doesn't require any new tech. And it's a good sort of onboarding vehicle for when they truly ramp up Origin design work, maybe later next year. That's what I think. Speculating on that, though. I don't know for certain. Offset Studio says, question, ever since uploading the new player guide, have you seen an uptick in your referral numbers? That's a great question. Does everyone want to see? Let's see where we're at. Let's just take a peek. All right, let's take a peek. I'm going to do it live on stream here. Let's bring this over. We're going to bring it up. So after the new player guide, I've had 5 recruits recruited after I only had 1. Okay, so what did that give me? That gave me the Army armor, a gun, the Dunleavy model, which is really cool, the Mirai Pulse GDC Army paint, which is really cool, the Volt Parallax Army assault rifle. Obviously got the referral bonus. My next reward was where, to me, it starts getting interesting. I am looking forward to getting 10 referrals. Here's the thing, though, everyone. When we get to 50 recruits, okay, if we get to 50 recruits, I am going to put the Misc Raptor in Fleet Viewer, okay? If we can get to 50 recruits, I'm going to put the Misc Raptor into Fleet Viewer, okay? That's my goal. That's my goal. So some of these people are killing it with referrals. Yeah, killing it. Whew. But yes, I've gotten a few referrals from it. It's been great. It's been really, really great. Hope to get some more, but we are getting them. Okay, we're going to pause on questions now, and we're going to get to the next thing, which was the SCL discussion. I'm going to leave this playing up here for a minute while we talk about that. Okay, so the SCL discussion, this was actually, you know what? I can probably bring it up and just so people coming into chat know what the hell we were talking about. Let me bring that up real quick. Let's see here. Lots of ship talk, I think is what they called it. We'll bring this over. Okay, bringing it over. Let's see, we'll just kind of hit play on this. We'll leave it muted and it'll play in the background. So with SCL, a lot of interesting stuff to discuss here. It was John, Ben, and God, I always forget his name. What's the other guy's name? It'll say it in the video description, I think. Does anyone remember the other developer's name? Why do I always forget it? Let's check because I like hearing him talk. Mark. Is it Mark? Yes, I think it's Mark. I always like listening to him talk too. Gin and Tonics has some lag on his end. By the way, is the stream going well for everyone? Let me know if everyone's having any issues with latency, like lag or stuttering or anything like that. Mark Gibson. Thank you very much. Mark Gibson. Yes, he's great. So I always love hearing from Mark Gibson. All right, pulling up some information here. This is my show notes for the SCL. Bring these over. Okay, where are my notes? Okay, here we go. Yeah, so they talked about a lot, okay, and there's a lot to cover. First thing is that they did mention that armor will be in the 4.5 PTU, okay? It's already in the Evocati engineering build. No, I haven't tested it yet, but I am excited about it. I'm primarily excited about it because I want capital ships to gain the ability to not be destroyed by small fighters, and that looks to be what armor is doing. I obviously can't go into depth on the Evocati stuff, but I haven't actually tested any of this newest stuff with armor, so I'm excited to see how it functions. They did sort of lead off of that, and they talked about ISC next week, which is nice to know. We'll be getting an Inside Star System next week. We'll be on engineering and armor. So that's going to be really, really great. They're also going to release a large engineering document that's going to come out alongside the 4.5 patch. If those of you that are new to Star Citizen don't know what these sort of engineering documents or medical documents are, it's usually when CIG brings in a big new batch of gameplay feature stuff and they need to kind of re-educate everyone on it. They'll release one of these sort of tutorial documents that kind of talks you through how the new system is going to work. Okay. So it'll be exciting to get that for engineering with 4.5. 4.5, I think, is going to be a big kind of massive turning point for this game, right? Where engineering comes on board. Ships have new meaning. Some ships require more people, but specifically ships themselves become gameplay loops. Right now, the game we play, the ships are your key to gameplay loops, right? So ships unlock, access to salvaging, or they unlock access to mining or cargo hauling. But with engineering, the ships themselves will become gameplay, okay? That brings us to an interesting point, though, and that is we need better crew management tools. And I do think that's going to come with the social stuff coming from CIG, but we need those crew tools as well. We need a way to put up a crew roster that people can sign up for with guaranteed money payouts for doing that role for that gameplay session. Okay. And when you sign up for it, that money goes into some sort of escrow, right? Some sort of middleman that gets held so that when the terms of that contract are fulfilled, the money is paid out to those crew members. We need something like that. You know what I mean? We need ship permissions, as MCD just said. We need all that. With engineering coming to ships, there's now reason for that to be in place. So maybe CIG will start focusing on it at some point. You know what I mean? Up until now, they really haven't had a reason to do any of that. So now we are seeing that. By the way, great turnout tonight. 251 over on Twitch and 237 on YouTube. Incredible, everyone. If you want to get in on the L22 Wolf giveaway tonight, if you're over on YouTube, all you need to go is to the link pinned to the top of chat. Go to that link, leave a comment. That is my new player guide video. Just leave a comment. It can be hi, hello, how are you? I'm going to pull a random winner from there. And then for those of you on Twitch, we're going to do an awesome Stream Racers very, very shortly. When we do Stream Racers, we'll take the winner from that. We're going to put you in the random wheel of names. We're going to spin it. Okay. And whoever the runner-up is, just made this decision. Whoever the runner-up is going to get either an Epoch Aves download patch bundle or the Epoch Dust Devil patch bundle. You'll get to choose. Okay. So both people that get their names, or at least the person that gets their name chosen from YouTube and the winner from the Stream Racers, both of you will get something. Okay. Kaboom, thank you for that follow. Thank you for all the follows, everyone. MTX, Blue Mastodon, CL Slayer, Grumpy Old Fart, love the name. Mr. Bunga, Enzo, Ace, Firehawk, Citizen Jags. Really appreciate everyone. We are plowing towards our next follower goal of 7,200 followers. Thank you very, very much. Couldn't do it without you. Appreciate everyone. We only need 28 more followers, by the way. 28 more followers will get us to that big goal. 28 more followers. So yeah, next week's ISC will be a good one. I'm really excited for it. Aurora Mark II coming in 2026. They're saying the first half. Now, those of you that have watched my previous streams will know that we've discussed Aurora Mark IIs. We even did a 3D kit bash of an Aurora Mark II. I'm not sure if many of you remember it, but we're going to pull it up here. We're going to take a look. Let me get back to it. It's somewhere here in my files. I got to go back through my files. Look through. We do a lot of kit bashing for those of you that don't watch this stream very often. We do a lot of kit bashing on here, 3D kit bashing. And here was my version of an Aurora Mark II. Okay, don't know if that's actually what it will look like, but that is my version of an Aurora Mark II. We did some kit bashing. We kind of looked at it, what it would look like next to the other ships, the original Aurora. We really kept the cockpit the same so that they wouldn't have to change much with the scale of the ship or the cockpit, but we tried to bring in those Zeus stylings with a few little elements from the original Aurora pulled in, the diagonal lines, these little strut braces here you can kind of see, but that was our experiment with an Aurora Mark II. Some people may like it, some people may hate it, but there it is. There is our Aurora Mark II. They did comment that the Aurora Mark II is coming. That is not the same thing as the gold standard pass on the existing Auroras. I have never liked the Auroras. I've never liked those. And I'm glad to hear there's an Aurora Mark II coming. Real quick, I want to grab a question here that just popped into the chat because it's a good one I want to grab. Varian Rex says, question, are you planning to do an Engineering 101 video with the December release and add it to the new player guide? So I'm actually going to keep adding on to the new player guide. I'm going to do a medical one and an engineering one. Those two are coming. And then I'm going to do specific ones for mission gameplay loops. So cargo run, salvage run, mining run, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So yeah, that is the plan. But yeah, Aurora Mark II coming first half of 2026. What did everyone think about that? Were everyone excited for that? Is that something that got everyone interested? I'd be interested to hear. You know, for those of you that, you know, the natural question is does that mean a Constellation Mark II would come at some point? It's possible. It's possible, right? I mean, we even played around with it on my stream before. This was our our Constellation Mark II, where we played around. It has a much bigger cockpit, total change in some of the straight, and some of the profile. It got much bigger. I think it got up to like 80 meters long. So it grew about 20 meters, 25 meters. So it's now more like Starlancer size. I do think this would be a great Starlancer size ship. It has more of the Apollo bridge on the front of it. So yeah, we did work on a Constellation Mark II variant here live on stream as well. So said here, the Hull-B can land with cargo and has 512 SCU. And then they specifically ask, I'm going to pull some stuff aside here, everyone, bear with me. They did say, okay, sorry. They said the Hull-B can land with its cargo still and has been up to 512 SCU. And then they said that one is coming in 2026 as well. Now, I want to take a real quick pause on that. Does anyone want me to go into 3D for a minute? Do we want to get into that at all? We don't have to. I know sometimes it can sort of slow things down a bit. Let's see here. Let me click over some windows. Bear with me. Spectre says Grim be drip feeding us. He's a secret CIG dev. Yeah, maybe. You never know. It's possible. Let's go into 3D real quick here. This is the last known look of the hull B that we have. Okay, like this is the concept model. So this is the I guess you would call it the concept mesh. I think the only thing that changed here were the boxes. Now, obviously, this will get updated. I think it's actually going to look a lot closer to the hull A with maybe a few touches of hull C thrown in. But one of the biggest things CIG said regarding the hull B, though, was that it's more X shape now, right? It's in the shape of an X. So I wanted to take a moment here to sort of look at that. I mean, so first off, what do we have here? We have cargo crates on here now, and we have, let's see, let me bring up my calculator. We have 32 SCU times, so it's 4 times 4 is, so we're going to just do some math here. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 32 is 512 SCU of cargo. So that kind of gives you an understanding of how many cargo boxes it's going to be able to hold. Now, the idea is, how does it hold that cargo? Well, CIG said it was in an X shape. So I don't know if I have this built out. Let's see. I don't know if I have this built out to do that, but we're going to see, damn it. We're going to see. Do I have this Argo Raft? Why do I have this labeled as Argo Raft? Okay, I may not have it. We're going to do some grouping here. This may take a minute because I wasn't prepared to do this. We'll see, though. Is this... okay, this is a spindle here. Yep, and then we have a spindle here. So we're going to take both of these spindles. We're going to throw them in this null. And then we're going to turn the null back on. So essentially, again, what they said was it's been rotated essentially 45 degrees on that y-axis, or at least the y-axis here. So 45 degrees here. Now, a lot of people were wondering, how is it still going to land? Because it's not like that makes much difference. It still has to have huge landing gears to be able to clear that if it's going to be able to land with cargo. I don't necessarily think that's true because the way these ships are designed now. Now, with this particular one here, you see the cargo or the actual mag plates are not on the exterior anymore like the old models. They're on the interior. So what CIG could do is they could stagger these boxes. So essentially what would happen is these boxes wouldn't be like this. They would be more like this, right? They'd be staggered more in that kind of format. That could definitely be how it is. Let me just do a couple slide arounds here. Again, I'm not being real pretty with it right now. I'm sorry, everyone. But what they could do is something like this. Yeah, they could do something like that. It's kind of a different way to carry cargo, but it absolutely, let me just turn this spindle off. You can see what I mean specifically. But when you do that, now the ship's got a lot more ground clearance. You know what I mean? So it could be any number of ways they're going to do it. I wouldn't worry too much. CIG's obviously found a solution of some type. But yeah, and again, this is the old hollow model. I do think the ship is going to get a pretty significant redesign, especially on the front cab area. The front cab area of the ship, I think, will get a pretty substantial redesign. Okay. Going a little further down here, they did talk about the hull D and the hull E. Now let's talk about that. The hull D was originally going to carry 20,000 some odd SCU of cargo. That is the one I own. I own the hull D. And it has been brought down to 6,912 SCU. Pretty big decrease. Almost, what, 75% decrease. The hull E, even more crazy, was originally going to have 98,000 SCU of cargo and has been brought down to 12,000 SCU of cargo. Now, John Crew stated that he thought essentially we'd be too bored waiting for cargo to be loaded on the hull E, loading 98,000 SCU of cargo. He also said that even waiting for that ship to be filled would be kind of crazy if it was like auto-filled, right? Because CIG is going to put sort of a time multiplier on that, and you've just been waiting for probably weeks for that to happen. He also said that it could potentially break the game's economy, which I agree. As soon as you bring in cargo runs of 20 and 98,000 SCU respectively, you start getting into a place where the economy gets unbalanced. Now, some would say, well, it should be able to, the game should be able to handle very large economies of scale. And what I think is going to happen there, I don't know what you all think, but what I think is after Star System 1.0, we're going to get an expansion pack or a patch update after 1.0 at some point that will bring on bigger scales of economy of scales when it comes to certain gameplay loops. So cargo will probably get a cargo focused patch where they bring in even bigger cargo runs, possibly bigger SCU crates in the future, even though I know they said they wouldn't. And that's when CIG will release a new cargo ship that can carry that much. So I would never say never. I still think it's going to come. I really do. The bigger thing, though, is they said that they think it would affect performance. And here's the thing. It would not affect the performance if CIG went with bigger SCU crates than 32. If they went to 256 or something like that, it would totally be doable. But as John Cruz stated, CIG has decided that 32 SCU is going to be the biggest cargo crate, right? And if that's the case, then yes, 98,000 and 20,000 SCU respectively are insane. The entity count, remember the entities are anything the game has to keep track of. The entity count would be so big that it would tank performance. Okay. So I think performance was one of the big knock-on effects of this. Once the 32 SCU crate size was decided upon, and I have a feeling that was decided upon by like Richard Tyrer and other people like that. Once that was decided on, then the gone was going to be the whole E and D. And I think it was wise that John Crew went ahead and ripped that Band-Aid off, got that information out to us as soon as possible. Some people are going to look at that as a nerf. I personally do not look at it as a nerf. I own a hull D. Okay. I own a hull D. I look at it as fitting with whatever the balance is, right? So, and let me parse it this way. If CIG was intending for bigger and bigger scales of cargo boxes, then obviously you're going to want bigger and bigger cargo ships to handle that. I always thought we were getting 64, 64, 128, 256 cargo boxes. I always thought that was going to happen. Now that we are not, it's a hard reality that we're not going to be able to operate at that scale. However, got to remember 12,000 SCU of cargo is massive. We know the cost of ships right now. So for example, 890 jumps, like 50 million AUEC, right? And it could change obviously, but like 50 something million. You would not have to do probably about one hull E run at 12,000 SCU of cargo, and you could probably buy your 890 jump, maybe one or two runs. So you see how like that starts to get kind of like where with one run of a hull E, you could buy a capital ship. Again, I don't know if it's going to totally balance out to that, but when you extrapolate like that, it starts to make sense. Also, I think CIG for things like space stations was worried that you would load up a hull E, make one run to the supply hub to build a space station. You unload one hull E and boom, your space station's built. I think they want that back and forth dropping off from multiple ships, multiple runs. They want that to be a gameplay loop. So building that around like 12,000 SCU of cargo, 6,900 SCU of cargo, I think it just gives them a baseline to build from. Now, I'll tell you this. I know John Cruz said that the whole D&E are still going to be the biggest cargo ships that we have access to. I think that'll be the case for a good long while. But will CIG eventually bring in bigger cargo ships? Probably. Down the road, though, I think post 1.0. So yeah, I wouldn't look at it as a straight up nerf. I would look at it as more of a realignment, more in the vein of how they did the Pioneer. right? Where the rework of the Pioneer was meant to service gameplay, and it's a better ship because of it. All right. It also would not surprise me if the whole D&E, because of those nerfs, get some additional features that we're just not aware of right now. Like maybe they'll get cargo drones that can move cargo automatically. Maybe they'll get better accommodations or other interesting things added to them that we just don't know about yet. Okay, I think showing how CIG develops ships now, I think 100% will get that. Ben Curtis even said that those ships will need to go through more of a full re-concepting pass at some point. Next, let's talk the Ironclad. This is a big one. This is a big one for me. I do own both Ironclads, Ironclad and Ironclad Assault. The SCU capacity has gone up those significantly. For the base Ironclad, it carried 1536, so 1,536 SCU of cargo. That has been up to 2,204 SCU now. I mean, that's a huge increase. That's like a C2 Hercules increase in cargo, or a Raelin increase in cargo. That's a lot. Okay. The Ironclad Assault just has been made to almost match the original Ironclad. So the Ironclad Assault went from 1,052 to 1,440. I know a lot of people that were really on the fence about which one of those to go with because they didn't want to give up the cargo for the features of the Assault. Now they don't have to. They can still get that close to 1,500 SCU of cargo for the Assault, but then get all the features of the Assault. So now I'm very much considering just sticking with the Assault version of the Ironclad. I'm glad I kept both. Now I just got to kind of figure out which one is the right one for me. Getting to a couple more questions here, everybody. Let's see here. Rabbit SC says, question, do you think we'll see an update to the Wolf Energy weapon kit so it includes cables and capacitors? Because if they're needed for the Alpha Wolf, wouldn't they be needed for the Wolf? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if they want to get that granular with it. Okay. Rabbit SC says, question, I think we'll see a funding backer reward for hitting 1 billion. Yeah, probably. We'll get something. There'll be something special for that. Yeah. Something special for that. XLeaks699 says, question, is there anywhere I can view your fleet? No, I don't think so. I can pull my fleet up here in a minute, though. I'll do that afterwards. So yeah, the Ironclads have gone up in SCU capacity by quite a bit. I originally thought that possibly meant that the ship had grown from its, 124, 126 meters, like Carrack sized. I thought maybe it had grown to be like more like 140 or something. But what I think, they said in this discussion, obviously they talked about removing some bulkheads and removing some ladders, and that gave them the extra space. I will say that seems a little crazy that they were able to regain that much space because of some ladders and some bulkheads. I think it's very likely the ship benefited from that, but also did get a little bigger. Maybe it has grown. Maybe it's 130, 132 meters now. I don't know, but maybe it has grown. And, based off that growth, maybe it's gained the ability to carry that amount of cargo. I personally hope they didn't eliminate all the walkways and transversal ways through the main area. I thought that was a really cool feature. And I don't think they eliminated the walkways. They eliminated, or sorry, I see what you're saying, Genetonic. They eliminated the walkways on the ground floor that would go between the cargo crates. Yes, they eliminated those. So, real quick here, we'll get back to some questions in a minute. You remember you can ask questions by doing capital Q and the rest of the letters lowercase. I'm just trying to see if the question bot's still working. I don't think it is. I don't think the question bot's still working, but I'll try to grab questions I see. Sorry about that. The question bot may have stopped working. I'll do my best to grab questions as I see them, everyone. I may miss them, though, because my producer had to leave. It happens. Real quick here, let me get back to the notes. Where did my notes go? Oh, here we go. So yeah, some big changes to the Ironclad. Big changes to the Ironclad. Okay, what is next here? Oops. Sorry, 1 second, everybody. Grabbing a few things here. Bear with me. Okay, I'm just grabbing a few extras here that we will get to in a minute. Okay. So Ironclad changes, pretty big. I'm really excited for that. I do think the Ironclad is for Defense Con at the end of May. I feel really solid about that. I'm at about 94% positive that that's when we're getting the Ironclads, is for Defense Con. Okay. They talked about an Anvil ground-based version of the Clipper, so kind of a generalist ground vehicle that will probably have some crafting capabilities, some medical capabilities, all that kind of stuff. So to have like a tier 2 med bed, crafting table, all that kind of good stuff. We saw that in the silhouette from last year. It's this vehicle right here. So this is sort of that generalist Anvil ground vehicle based off the Atlas platform, sort of like a camper van, Cyberwolf. Yep, 100%. I'll be really interested to see how well this sells. I actually think it'll do pretty well. They then talked about the Consolidated Outland Forge. That's the current going name. This is a crafting ship, sort of more of a dedicated crafting ship. It's got a much larger crafting machine in it than like the Clipper's crafting ship, and it has a refinery and ground extraction, much like the Pioneer. Now, this ship is obviously waiting for crafting, but more importantly, this is not a generalist ship like the Clipper. This is more of I think you could probably think of this more as a focused crafting starter, right? More of a focused crafting starter. Maybe even I guess you consider it more of a starter plus for crafting, or a super starter, however you want to refer to it. But I think that's sort of where it's falling into. But we'll see. But it's essentially, in many ways, going to be a small mini Pioneer. I do like the name Forge. I would like them to keep that. But yeah, that is the Consolidated Outland Forge. I'm excited for this one. I don't know if you all are. I am assuming the ship is mostly done. It's just waiting for crafting to be released. Some of you may say, well, why not release it? Because they released the Clipper and it's got a crafting machine in it. Yeah, but this is a dedicated crafter. This is the ship's primary role. And because it's the ship's primary role, they want to wait for the main gameplay to come online. Okay, everybody, let me grab a few more of these questions and add them to the list here. Again, I know I'm going to miss some. And I won't be able to get to every question. Okay, I won't be able to get to every question. It's impossible. So I do apologize. How much cargo do I think the Forge has? I don't know. I guess it depends on what CIG wants to balance that with to be a good crafter at that scale. I'm not sure, though. 64, something like that, maybe. 64 SCU. No, maybe 32. I could see it being 32 SCU, actually. Yeah. At this scale, 32, I think, is the most. Hudson says, Graham, question, do we need to buy those specific CCU upgrades that they're selling right now and actually create the ships in our hangar to receive the winner posters, or will the winner posters be granted to players who already own the winning ships without using these special CCUs? So if you already own the ships, you're going to get the posters. You don't have to rebuy anything. Yeah. If you already own the ships, you'll get the posters. But I think you get the poster for that ship. I don't know if you get all 4 of them. Okay, talked about the Forge. They did have some other kind of nice little bits of info. One was that the back right seat of the Polaris bridge, on the Polaris bridge, will get main torpedo control 4.5. I think that's fantastic. Thank you, CIG. They did reconfirm that the pilot will not get torpedo control, which I'm completely fine with. But I don't love that the Perseus captain gets them. Now, they made the delineation that, well, the torpedoes are are so much bigger in the Polaris that wouldn't make sense. My argument about that is, well, where's the line in the sand then? You know what I mean? What's the cutoff point for when a pilot can control a weapon and not control a weapon? I think CIG needs to kind of do some clarity on that. I don't know if you all agree, but I think we need some clarity on, what that line in the sand is for pilot control weapons. They followed that up with, the Idris pilot will keep the main gun. However, it will be balanced for, more in the future. It's good to hear, I guess. But they did say the Idris T with its big old torps will be pilot controlled heading into 4.5. Again, I disagree with this. I think the torps should be controlled by the co-pilot or someone else on the bridge. There's plenty of bridge seats. There's no reason why that can't be done by another person. I really dislike it. I really dislike it. It puts the Polaris in a specifically weak spot. Some people may disagree with that, but I don't see how you can, you're applying the logic, of the Polaris versus the Perseus, but then the Idris sort of completely destroys that argument, right? So I'm 100% that the Idris T should not have pilot controlled torpedoes. 100%. I do not like it. I want them to change it. I do not like it. We heard about the lamp system coming into the game, which will provide light amplification for ships coming, and the light amplification is applied to their canopy glass. I think that's great. I do still think we need a proper ground radar system so that when we get close to the ground, what I think should happen is the ground becomes essentially not only illuminated, but we should get some sort of detailed schematic, much like when we do a ping scan, but instead of a ping, it's just a constant on version showing the terrain detail with height measurements. That's what I think we need. So I think the lamp thing is interesting and nice, but I do hope it comes with additional information other than just making things brighter. Okay, that's what I think. Let's see here. They did say that the Carrack will be getting a crafting station and its repair room. Glad to hear that confirmation. We always knew that was going to be the case, but it is always good to get that confirmation. Killswitch says like LiDAR. Yeah, very similar. Yep, like LiDAR. There then was a update on the battlecruiser. And that was this, is that we are going to get its concept reveal at Invictus next year. That's pretty wild. We're going to get the battlecruiser concept reveal next Invictus. I'm really interested to see what the battlecruiser is like. If the battlecruiser has carrier capability, meaning it has the ability to do ship flight operations. It might just be a brawler, by the way. It just might be a big, big gun ship. But if it's a ship that has the ability to do flight operations, I might melt my Idris and Javelin and put toward the battlecruiser. Now, I know some people, I think I saw it on Info Runners, were suggesting maybe that the battlecruiser would just be a blueprint sale. I get, and maybe it'd be sold for cheaper. You could do something like that. So if you sold the blueprint for like $1,000 and that gave you the ability to build it in game, you could do that. I think the one problematic thing that occurs when you do something like that, though, is you're going to get bad press because people are going to go, well, you've essentially sold me the ability, or you've just sold me a goal to play in game. So I still have to do all the work in the game. I still have to raise all the money in game to do what I need to do. And not actually giving me anything. You just gave me the ability to get something with a lot of hard work. I as much as I hate, the idea of we can just buy any ship, I do think you're getting into some really shaky ground when you are selling things that aren't actually a thing. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And a blueprint is not really a thing. It's the permission to make a thing. but it's not really a thing. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's going to depend a lot on what the concept is. I'm going to be interested to see what that F5 war is all about. If I'm trying to buy with credit, it'll probably be impossible to get, fully expecting that. I, again, don't even know if I want it. It would depend on what it is, and what its capabilities are. I think I'm actually more, instead of bigger ships, I'm more interested in the space station stuff. I really want to build space stations. So for me, on the big ship side of things, the Kraken and the Pioneer are probably the two big ships that are going to be most used by me. You know what I mean? Um, for for the battle cruiser, if it's just a big ship with big guns, obviously it's going to be a game changer when it comes to space station warfare gameplay in the future. But besides that niche gameplay loop, the only other useful thing I could see for the ship for someone like me would be a massive carrier that is pretty much a mobile space station that all my org can base out of. So it has the ability to support tons of ships, right? If you have the ability to spawn like ASOP terminals on the ship that other players can pull ships from, that would be a game changer, right? It just really depends on what the concept for the battle cruiser is, and we just don't have enough information to really do much more speculation than that. Artemis says, question, did Ben, the ship art director, mention the manufacturer of the battle cruiser? Got to be Anvil, right? I think it's probably Anvil. However, I would say it's probably easier for it to be an RSI ship, just because they already have a bunch of big RSI ships like the Bengal, the cruiser, stuff like that. So it's probably easier to be an RSI ship, but I know everyone wants an Anvil ship. They did talk about a new Kruger ship coming next year called the Stingray. I'm pretty excited about that. I hope it's a medium multi-crew ship, so something to compete with something like the Zeus or the Spirit, but from Kruger. So a little bit of a bigger ship, but for Kruger, I would buy it in a heartbeat. I'd buy it in a heartbeat. They said that the Galaxy is the next IAE ship. So next year, IAE, the big ship they're going to release, is the Galaxy. Now, many of you are probably saying, hey, wait a minute. Didn't Grimm say that we weren't getting any more RSI big ships for a while, that they were going to take a break? They weren't going to do the Galaxy. They weren't going to do the Arastra. Did Grimm say that? Yes, I did say that, and I was completely wrong. Obviously, I am wrong a lot because I'm just speculating. Yes, looks like they are going to do the Galaxy. Excited to see that. I do own the ship. So, I thought they were going to take that break on our side. They have a lot of other big ships in production, but John Crew would know better than me. Maybe they want to keep that momentum off the Perseus and just clock off the Galaxy as well. Now, we've heard nothing about the Arastra, and the Arastra would be a pretty interesting one for them to tackle too, especially with the gameplay loops going on in Nyx in the future. But we'll have to see if the Arastra follows behind the Galaxy. There's still two big RSI ships on the docket, though, the Arastra and the Orion. I do think the Orion's probably a 1.0 ship, though, or post 1.0. Walker Bates says, question, Graham, do you think the Liberator could be released at CitizenCon? No, doubtful. If it's in pre-production now, no. They're going to need more than 10 months to build the Liberator. It'll be yet another super large Anvil ship like the Carrack, but it follows the design kit of the Paladin and the Asgard. So they got a lot of work to do. They also said the manufacturers that we're going to be getting new ships next year. Okay, so Drake, we know that with the Ironclads, probably get some more Drake ships as well, but definitely Drake Ironclads. Aegis, that was a big surprise. Don't know what we're going to get from Aegis. I would love for it to be the Nautilus, but it's not going to be the Nautilus. I don't know what we're going to get from Aegis. We'll have to see. I would love I would love for it to be Reclaimer work, but I don't think it's going to be that. I think we're just going to get a new ship from Aegis. Anvil. I think we could probably get the Legionnaire next year. I do think that they're probably going to circle back to the Legionnaire. The last Aegis ship would have been when they did the Peregrine and the Firebird. Peregrine and the Firebird. So not too long ago. They said we're going to be getting a Misc ship. That could very well be the Expanse. I think refinery gameplay is coming next year along with crafting and stuff. So I think getting the Misc Expanse makes a lot of sense. Gray's Market, we're going to get a new ship from them. It's probably going to be that Gray's Market ship. I don't think I have it up right now. But there's that other Gray's Market ship that we've seen in the Squadron 42 vertical slice stuff. We could be getting that one. It looks like it's a cross between a Buccaneer, a Mustang, and like a Hornet. It's kind of more of a fighter. But yeah, there's another Gray's Market ship coming. Origin, that was a big surprise to people. I do think for right now, I'm just going to keep my expectations in check and just assume it's the G12 series. The G12 series is a ship they have attempted to tackle multiple times in the past few years, and I think they probably just want to get it done. Gatak, we're getting the Raylan. We all know that. We're getting another vehicle from Graycat. We'll be getting the MFC, which is that Mobile Fabrication Center. Kruger with the Stingray. They talked about the Stingray. And then Argo, we're getting a new ship, and that's most likely a large salvager. Okay, most likely a salvager somewhere in between the Vulture and the Reclaimer. So it's probably going to be a salvager that sits somewhere in there. Think mole, but for salvaging. Okay, it'll be like a mole, but focus purely on salvaging gameplay. Okay, and that was the news from the ISC. That was it. Interesting stuff. They did not talk about the Kraken. They did not go into the Ironclad much, other than the cargo change. They didn't talk about the Pioneer. We heard nothing about base building vehicles. So the CSV-FM, Starlancer build. We didn't hear anything about those. So some kind of big missing stuff there. They didn't talk about the Merchantman possibly going into development late next year or concepting. So there was a lot of stuff they didn't talk about. You can read into that a little bit, right? Maybe they're in active development, so they do not want to talk about them because they have plans to reveal those in a bigger way in the future. There was definitely people asking about an update for the Kraken. I saw a lot of people post questions about that. CIG went out of their way not to answer that. I think it's because the Kraken, a big ship like that, special ship, they're going to want to set up ISCs around that. So I think we will get more information on the Kraken. It's probably just going to be a little while. I would expect Defense Con next year, we'll start getting our first bits of information about that ship in particular, if that's one you were, specifically, waiting on. So, all right, everybody. We're going to do a few more questions, and then we're going to get to the giveaway for an L22 Alpha Wolf. L22 Alpha Wolf. Now, I do want to say real quick, if you win the Alpha Wolf, I will be sending that out at the very end of IAE. Okay, the very end of IAE. Okay, so not tonight. If you win it tonight, you won't get the ship tonight. It comes at the end of IAE. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Okay. Seymour Brown Eye says, wait, how do we enter for the Wolf? If you're on YouTube, you go to the link pinned to the top of chat and you leave a comment on that video. If you're on Twitch, just hang out, Seymour. We're going to do a Stream Racers event here in a minute. That's easy to get into. And when we do that, we're going to take the winners from both of those, put you in the random wheel of names. We're going to spin it, and whoever wins, wins. The runner-up will get an APOC Aves or an APOC Dust Devil patch bundle that comes with an Intrepid paint, some cool armor, cool gun. Joy Pop, thanks for that subscription with Prime. Appreciate that. Warren, Altapose, thank you for the follows. Lou Bega, Novalux reached a 3-stream streak. Atomic Smoke, Sugar Bear. Thank you for all those follows, everyone. You're amazing. We are 20 followers away from our next goal. 20 followers away. If you haven't followed the channel and you're over on Twitch, please hit that follow. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you're over on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. Okay, really, really appreciate that. Don't forget, everyone, we are doing a Perseus giveaway. We're giving away a Perseus this Tuesday. This Tuesday, we're giving away a Perseus. You can scan that QR code, or you can go to this Gleam link pinned or in chat right now. Go to that Gleam link, and with that Gleam link, you can enter, do a free, you can enter to win a Perseus, and it's free to enter. Okay. Seymour Brown Eye says, what's the partner status, Graham? Real close. We're still one stream away because Twitch does not, their analytics are so messed up. I've beyond qualified for it now, but their analytics don't show that I have. It's really, really silly, Seymour. It's been very frustrating, and their customer service is interesting. So yeah, that's how you get in on the giveaways. While we talk, let me go through a few more questions here. Let me swing over to the questions. Fetish Trebuchet says, question, do you expect the price of the Kraken to rise to the price of the Idris on release? Yes, I do. It'll be 1,900, 2,000, maybe even a little bit more. I could see it being 2,000, 2,100. It'd definitely rise up to that for sure. You have to do that to keep the balance of the cost of the other ships as well. So, yeah. Michael Phillips says, any SJ org news? I'm really sorry about that, everyone. I know I keep promising it. It is coming, I promise. I just want to get through IAE, and then I'm going to circle back around to it. I do really apologize about that. Let's see here. Cosmic Troll says, question, with fleet viewers, is there any way to save ship layout so I don't have to reapply and place my entire fleet every time I update it if I have a layout I like to use? Yeah, just save out the JSON file, which you can do by going here, and let's say you build a layout you like. I'll just do this real quick here. Let's say you do a layout you particularly like, right? All you have to do is go to where is it? Save file. It will save a JSON file, and then whenever you get new ships added to your fleet, you just open the JSON file. The same layout will be there, the same exact layout that you did, and then it'll just have the new ships there as well. You may have to reposition those new ships because they didn't exist before, but yeah, you can totally do that. Not a problem. Kaboom TV says, with the cargo changes, what the hell will happen with the Orion? Much like everything, the Orion's just going to get a big cargo rework, and I think the Orion's going to get changes on the scale of like the Pioneer. So it's hard to really understand what role the Orion's going to play and at what capacity yet, because it's just going to get a massive rework. Magion Cello says, did they talk about the Nautilus during SCL? Because some friends told me that, but I couldn't confirm that info. No, not. They may have mentioned it, but there was no like news on it. They didn't really go into that. Other than that they need feature gameplay for it, which are the mines, right? Which we know. We know that already. Jarrett Garland says, are you or your org going to teach new players to personally meet in game or PvP or PvE? So eventually, yes. Is the STARJUMP org going to help new players? Essentially, yes. That's going to be a big part of what we do. We like doing that type of stuff. When we get more established, get closer to 1.0, it'll absolutely be something that we have an organized group doing. Yeah. Hooper says, I'm in some other big streamers orgs and they delegate a lot of the org management stuff to other org leaders. I highly recommend that once the org gets moving. Yeah, absolutely will. We plan on doing that. We've already got positions lined up for them and already started earmarking some people to have those roles. So yeah, that is something we're going to do. Puddly P says, can you imagine them dropping a ship like the Ironclad straight to flyable? You mean a ship that big? Well, Yeah, because any new big ship coming out won't be concept, so it'll go straight to flyable. I mean, a good example of that was the Starlancer Max, 90-meter long, large ship, went straight to flyable. So yeah, I could see them doing that. Jay the Dreamer says, question, can you look up my comment above? I'd like your candid look at it, Avatar. I didn't see that comment, Jay the Dreamer. Sorry, I must have missed it. Again, don't have my bot running right now. Sorry about that. Kaboom TV says, forgotten like some other ships. Interesting. Why it's picking up some of these. Bear with me, everybody. 1 second. Whiskey Warren says, do you think the MM will get a buff since the Ironclad got a buff? You're talking about Merchantman. You're talking about a cargo buff. Well, it got its cargo buff on its last reconcepting. So I guess it just depends on what happens on the newest reconcepting, right? Evan Brown says, question, if you had to speculate, what you would think the final / flight ready price of the Nautilus will be? Probably about $850, somewhere around there, about $850, maybe $900, but somewhere around there. About $850 is what I think. Zero says, can we confidently say that the blue silhouette ground vehicle is the ground-based building vehicle shown back? Yes, it is. They confirmed that. Yep. Kraz the boy says, I think we'll be getting refining gameplay and expanse with the Galaxy being released at next year's IAE. I do. I think the Galaxy coming at IAE next year all but confirms refinery gameplay is coming next year. I think it all but confirms that. The Expanse is the starter refinery ship. It makes a lot of sense to do it. It's small. It's the perfect ship to sort of test out that sort of gameplay loop stuff. So if yeah, I think we're going to get the Expanse. I personally do. Seymour says, question, they mentioned the Consolidated Outland Forge as the one silhouette, but at the end, Consolidated Outland wasn't mentioned as a manufacturer being released. I believe they did mention it. It's on my list of manufacturers. I would expect it to come with crafting next year, though. If you're a fan of that ship, I would expect it's coming next year. Jay the Dreamer says, my question was just about the timing on the announcement about the hull D. I pledged the D the day before the announcement. I don't understand why they announce the small ships and not the hulls. I think the timing was just coincidental, to be quite honest with you, Jay. I'll be honest with you. I own the hull D as well. I would not look at the hull D as getting a nerf. I really wouldn't look at either one of them as getting a nerf. They're still going to be the biggest cargo players in the game. 6,900 SCU of cargo, almost 7,000 SCU of cargo. And honestly, I could see CIG pushing it to 7,000 just to get to an even number. 7,000 SCU of cargoes, that's no joke. That's no joke. That's significantly more than a hull C. That's a couple thousand more than a hull C. Cosmic Turtle says, question, could you do a stream someday, kit bashing a Drake version of the Expanse? Sure. Yeah, we can do a Drake refinery ship one day. Artemis says, question, is the Stingray in the opening of the Attack of the Clones? You know what ship? Yes. Yeah, let's just say it is. Sir Arthur of Itis says, question, after this ship talk, do you think the December ship is the Apollo Hermes? And do you think the role of the Hermes is a data runner / cargo still? Well, I'll be honest with you, Slate, thank you for the follow. I've been very iffy on the Hermes being a real thing at all. I mean, I think it's a real thing, but I really don't know when it's coming. I don't know if it's the December ship. I don't really have any. I don't have anything giving evidence to the fact that it's a December ship. Sure, it kind of popped up in the files as a leak, but the word Hermes has come out as a leak many times recently. Hell, I know VMXEO just let me in on a Drake ship, the name of a Drake ship he found in the files that's really old, from like 2016, that never came out. So stuff that pops up in the files, I just don't look at that and go, oh, that means that ship's coming out really, really soon. I don't look at it that way. So yeah, I don't know what's coming out in December. I haven't heard anything about the Hermes coming in December, though. It might. Reaper says, do you think they'll make the Pioneer and those who own it be able to make bases or other craftable things for other players for a fee? Yeah, that's the whole goal of the ship. Fenriff, thank you for the hydrate. I'm going to hydrate right now. Yeah, that's the whole role of, there's the stretch. That's the whole role of the Pioneer, is to build stuff, craft stuff. And then you will be able to sell it through the whole just manual selling system, or you're going to be able to set up a shop as they showed at CitizenCon last year, where you can set up your own shops with the maglock system and all that. So yeah, you're going to totally be able to do that. Carcinogen says, question, wasn't 2025 supposed to be the year of the lasers? It's what they said, but not really what we got. Agent 1213 says, question, do you think the Odyssey is in the cards? I do, but I'm starting to think that is a 2027 ship. I thought it could be in development next year, but I do think it's 2027. It's a pretty big ship. It's like Polaris sized almost. I think the Misc ship we're getting next year is the Expanse, though. I think the Odyssey is maybe still a ways out. Just not a huge need for it at the moment. Evan Brown says, question, as a Kraken fan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the Golem Ox's Kraken compatibility? I think the Golem is the exciting underdog ship released this IAE. Yeah, I do too. I mean, look, I look at a lot of the Drake ships that have come out recently as great companions to the Kraken. If you look at the Cutter, the Ox, the Golems in general, the Clipper, the Corsair with their foldable wings, perfect for fitting them on the deck of a carrier. The other ships are very small, so they fit really well. So yeah, I think it's a perfect companion for the Kraken. Maybe CIG could build in some sort of synergy there. Maybe they remove the Dragonfly Bay and make some sort of dock for the Golem. I don't know, but there's possibilities there. Town Scout says, question, aside from base building, will we have personal habs if we want those instead? Yep, you're going to be able to buy habs in landing zones. Yep. Question, will the Freelancer get a redesign considering the start ship size creep and things like the Cutter being in the same price category? Yeah, I think the Freelancers are going to get a glow up at some point. And that could be on the cards for next year. They said Misc, maybe. I do think the Freelancers are due, though. I really do. We'll do one more question here, everybody. Then we're going to get to the giveaway. Walker Bait says, question, with engineering on the horizon, I feel like repair can't be far off. How do you feel about the Vulcan? The problem with the Vulcan is not repair, it's the drones. It does repair through drones, right? And when you do repair through drones, unfortunately, that means you now have sort of artificially held off that gameplay until drones are ready, which is why on any drone ship, I'm a little bit iffy right now because, again, it requires you to, and I'm just looking for something here real quick to pull up as I'm talking about this. Just a minute. Do I have that? Maybe I don't. I thought I had something to go along with that, but maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't. But the Crucible, or sorry, the Vulcan, it's drone based. So that's the problematic thing with it. It just puts it in a weird place. It puts it in a weird place. I think I have an example of that in my Crucible shipyard episode. I'll pull that up real quick here. I'm going to mute it. Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode. Where is it? Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, here's the Vulcan. You can see with the Vulcan, though, that it has the drones that come out of the side. The whole ship is built around the 4 repair drones that it deploys. You can see those drones deploying here now. Those drones are supposed to go out. There's 2 more on the other side. Those drones go out and do the repair work. So I think we have to see advancements on drones before we're going to see any advancements on the Vulcan. You know what I mean? And since the Vulcan's entire gameplay relies on the drones, I don't think they're going to release it until the drones are ready. You know what I mean? Everyone has tried it. It's time to do the Alpha Wolf giveaway. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up random comment picker. That's one of the things we're going to pull up right here. Okay, so we'll get random comment picker. We got to get the wheel of names up. You know, we got to do that. That's how we do it here. Bear with me. We're going to pull up the wheel of names. Okay, so we got our wheel of names, and we'll do stream racers in a minute. The first thing we're going to do, though, is the YouTube side of this. So if you're over on YouTube and you went to the link pinned to the top of chat and you left a comment on that video, which is, don't worry about that, which is my part 1 new player guide, What is Star Citizen? That's where we're going to pull the comment from. We're going to go to the advanced options. We're going to go to the after date. We're going to set it for today. We're going to set it for 9 p.m., which is when we started streaming. Okay, 9 p.m. We're just going to go right from there, 9 p.m. It'll pull any comment made after 9 p.m. today. Okay, actually, let me check that. Oh, set wrong. There we go. 9 p.m. There we go. Okay, so we're going to pull a random comment. Hopefully you got that in. If you win here, your name will go in the wheel of names. Okay. Thank you for all the follows, everyone. By the way, we are 6 followers away from my big goal tonight. Five followers away. Okay. Stripes, D Engineer, Patch 44, Brewmeister, Uncle T-Mac, your moms, Mage and Viper, Slate, Rate Player, everyone followed, Directory Devs. Thank you so much. We just had a few more come in. Crazy Dude, Glass in Hand, Meeks, getting us ever closer to our follower goal. We're 1 follower away, everybody, from tonight's goal. Who's going to do it? Who's going to be the one that gets us to our goal? Who's going to be the one that gets us to our goal tonight? We need 1 more follower, and that hits our goal for tonight. Can we do it? Do we have 1 more follower? Drum roll, please. Anybody? Follow? Hello? Hello? We got 305 people in here. There it is. Wanton TV just did it. Wanton TV, salute. Everyone else who followed tonight, salute to you as well. If you're an existing follower, salute. We just hit our follower goal of 7,200 followers. Whoop! Very nice. Appreciate everybody. Crash, Akern, Labrat, thank you very much for those follows. Here we go, everybody. We're going to pull a random comment. Good luck. Pulling now in 3, 2, 1. No thanks. There it is. Offset Studio. One of our people asking a question in chat. Offset Studio, are you there? Say hello. Offset Studio over on YouTube. Are you there? Say hello in chat if you are there, Offset. Hopefully you're still watching. You don't have to be watching. You do have 2 days to claim your prize. You do have 2 days to claim your prize. But Offset Studio, if you're there, say hello. Let us know you're alive. Congratulations. Congratulations. We're going to put Offset Studio's name in the random wheel of names. So amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, the next thing we're going to do, though, is we've got to get Stream Racers up and running. Okay, so what we're going to do is while we're waiting for Offset to say hello. Oh, there's Offset. Offset Studio, real quick reminder, if you end up winning, well, regardless, you got to contact me on Discord. Okay, STARJUMP_Grim at Discord. Okay, got to contact me there. Fortunately, that's the only way I can confirm who you are. So you got to contact me there, STARJUMP_Grim. Okay. Here we go. Let me get Stream Racers ready. For those of you on Twitch that want a chance to win an L22 Alpha Wolf, you're about to get your chance. You're about to get your chance, okay? Hold on a minute. Let me get everything ready. Okay, let's see here. All right, everybody, we're going to do... It's my daughter's wheeling around the house on top of a suitcase. Everyone, I'm going to get the thing set up here. We're going to do a Stream Racers. Raina, do you want to watch everyone do the Stream Racers? I'm about to do a giveaway. You can watch. Okay, you can come stand next to me and watch. We're going to do stream racers. Not yet, everybody. It's not up. Don't hit exclamation race yet. Don't hit exclamation race yet. I got to start a new game first. Bear with me. Let me switch us over. Hold on. Okay, everybody. We have the lobby up. Do exclamation race to get in the race. Exclamation race will join you to the race pool. If you're on Twitch and you want to win an L22 Alpha Wolf, you just have to do exclamation race to get in on this race. We have over 100 racers now. Jump in, everybody. Exclamation race. Give everyone like 1 minute here to join. Hey, honey. Hey. You can... Okay. That was my daughter making her appearance. Yes, so get in. L22 Alpha Wolf giveaway. So everyone's joining, and then we're going to do a big race where all these cars drive on a track, and whoever wins is going to be the person that goes in this random wheel of names for the giveaway. This person won from random comments on YouTube. These are my Twitch people. Okay, so my daughter's going to help me watch the race go down. So exclamation race, everybody. We have 200 racers. I'm just going to point out this is the most racers we've ever had. Most racers we've ever had. Okay. Now remember, it will pull more than 200, by the way. I just don't think it shows more than 200. I'm going to go ahead and start. There's 20 seconds longer. Oh, okay. It just started. Real quick, if you do exclamation boost will give you additional speed, but you got to be careful not to do it on a straightaway or a curve because you will ramp off the curve. There goes everybody. Oh boy, some people are flying off the track. Some person went in the river. Somebody went in the river.
This is fun to watch.
Yeah, there they go. They're going around the corner now. We've got a few people off the track down there.
So what happens if they go back?
If they go off the track, they just lose their place. Okay, they're jockeying for position now. Oh, someone just went back. Okay, everybody, they're going to be coming around this straightaway here. Oops, I don't know what button I pressed there. Sorry. Oh, gosh, what just happened? Something just happened. I don't know. It was a boom. There we go. Oh, boy, it's a mess. Look at all the cars that have fallen off. Oh, boy, we got a mess. Parker, GPS, Rico Lino, Mona Yace are in the... Oh, Rico is taking the lead. Oh, Rico, be careful, be careful, be careful. Oh, Rico's stuck on the wall. Rico's stuck on the wall. We have a bunch of people going off the track back in the rear. A bunch of people going off the track. Christian is now taking the lead with Parker XGPS in second. XLeak 611 in third, now in second. Christian pulling up a solid lead there. About to hit some... they're going through a few obstacles. Oh boy, Nugu just got in there. Nugu is now in the lead. Will he land upright on his car? Oh, he landed off the track. That's going to hurt him. That's going to hurt him bad. That's not good. Parker XGPX, now the new leader. Parker, nice job. Parker going around that final turn. Ghost 360, 3D Imagination in third. Here we go. We're coming up to the final winning circle. There may be a boom.
First, second,
Parker GPS.
third, fourth,
Parker GPS is our first place winner. We're going to let some people come across the finish line.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
There we go.
20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
People are piling over.
I can't go.
Nice work. Remember, you may not see yourself come across if you're that far in the rear because it only shows 40 more seconds of cars passing. Make sure you try to get in on that if you can. Watch to see if your car passes. If your car doesn't pass by the time the clock runs out, it's probably because you're off the track or so far behind that you haven't caught up to the rest of the field yet. Okay, 15 seconds left. Look at that pile of cars there. My goodness.
It's like a car. Oh, come on.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Still a lot of racers coming. Oh, there it is. So Parker X GPS is our winner. Let's switch back over. Nice job. My daughter claps for you all. Nice work.
Save with the name.
Yep, I'm going to do that now. Let me add that. Let me close this down real quick here so it doesn't take up memory, and then we'll do the random wheel of names. Okay. Okay, here we go, everybody. Stand by. Let me get some things set up. Shin Happen says he was at the very end. All right, so we're going to add Parker X GPS. I think that's right. Parker. I know you're in here a lot, but we're gonna leave it in, okay? Hopefully I spelled the name right. We're gonna duplicate this a few times to make the wheel a little bit more interesting looking, right? Instead of just 2 names, it's, oops. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. And we're gonna spin it. Okay, here's how it's gonna work, everybody. Here's how it's gonna work. Whoever wins the spin will win the L22 Alpha Wolf. For the person that comes in runner-up, you will get the choice between the APOC Aves patch bundle that you see here on your screen, comes with the Intrepid skin, the gun, and the ammo, or the armor, or you can choose the APOC's Dust Devil patch bundle, which comes with this armor and that paint and all that kind of stuff, okay? So there we go. Do I have everything? I think I have them all good. We're gonna do a spin. We ready? I'm gonna let you do the countdown. Do the countdown from 5 seconds into the mic.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boop, and it's spinning. Good luck to whoever wins. Good luck to whoever wins, and it's gonna be Parker X GPS. Parker X GPS, the winner of the L22 Alpha Wolf, the newest ship from Kruger, shown here. Parker, congratulations. You just won the L22 Alpha Wolf. Let me go back. And Offset, you have won the ability to choose between the APOC Aves and APOC Dust Devil patch bundle set. Okay, so congratulations on that. You both need to contact me via Discord. Okay, you both need to contact me via Discord, and I will award your prizes. Remember, the L22 Alpha Wolf will not be given until the end of IAE. Parker, the end of IAE is when I'll be able to give that out. Okay, so in a couple days, I think like Tuesday or something like that, I'll have the ship and we'll be able to get that out to you. Okay, so congratulations on that. Now, everyone, a couple important announcements. Those of you that stuck around and watched today, you got automatic extra tickets added to the Perseus giveaway. That will be on December 2nd. So that's Tuesday. We're giving away the Perseus. Remember, this is an $800 ship, a pretty massive giveaway, okay? If you want to get in on that, go to this Gleam link that I'm pinning in chat, or that I'm putting in chat. That's how you get in on the giveaway. We're giving away an RSI Perseus with 120 months insurance. So make sure you get in on that, okay? Last but not least, just to go over a couple of things again, I want to remind everybody that we're doing the big stream on Tuesday for the Perseus. We're going to give away other stuff that night too, maybe even some STARJUMP stuff. So definitely tune in on that. That'll be Tuesday night at I don't know when we're going to start, probably around 6 p.m. I need to update the calendar, but Tuesday at 6 p.m. Keep an eye out on YouTube and Twitch for the calendars to be updated. In addition, don't forget, Pigeon Spaceport is now a sponsor of STARJUMP, or at least my show, Shipyard. So if you want to go to their website, use STARJUMP code, will get you a certain percentage off their product. They do sell these RSI Scorpius models here. They're ABS injected, really, really nice, retracting wings. They come in several different paint styles that you can choose from. I will be getting one sent to me by them to do a review on and to give away at some point. So stay tuned for that. Okay. But yeah, really, really great products. Make sure you go to their website. Again, they do really cool stuff. Here is the website. I'll put it down in chat. Pigeon Spaceport, they're the ones that did the big Retribution model, the Olisar model for CIG events. This is an officially licensed CIG product, by the way. This is an officially licensed product by Cloud Imperium Games. So get in on that. Going to be awesome when I get one in hand and I can do an actual full review. Okay. So yes, that is pretty much it. We've gone over a lot tonight. I appreciate everyone following and everyone hanging out. Hopefully this is the one that gets us over the, over that cliff for partner on Twitch. I think it will. So thank you all for hanging out. Tuesday's going to be the big stream, though. Lots of giveaways, everybody. Lots of giveaways. So you definitely want to tune in for that. Had a big turnout on Twitch tonight. I know we had gotten up to like 250 people. So thank you very much to my Twitch community. On YouTube. On Twitch, we have 247 watching. So that's amazing. Thank you very much. We're going to be rating someone tonight. We're going to be rating our good friend Nonstop Bops. He does great content over there. You've seen him have discussions with me and Execute. Someone just said, thanks, Grim and Mini Grim. We were talking about you. I'm going to send you over to Nonstop Bops. Make sure you give him some STARJUMP love and all that good stuff. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. I really wouldn't do this without an amazing STARJUMP community. Thank you, everybody. Going to start the raid here in just a second. Do something kind for a stranger. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all that kind of good stuff. It really does go a long way. I really appreciate it. Use my referral code. Go to our Patreon. All that good stuff. Sending you over to Nonstop now. Give them some STARJUMP love. Thanks, everyone.